Docks. Chat. Fingers crossed that's working. Lovely. Here, ghost it, ghost, I'm gonna ghost this. No? Will that not let me? Ghost. Alright, gonna do something different. Sat on my controller. Yeah, controller starts, or fuck, shit, that, not the controller. The tournament starts in 7 minutes. Everybody should be able to hear me. Alright. Portrait. Lovely. And let's go ahead and full screen that. Yeah, I'm also going to be taking a small break on the stream here. In the middle of the stream, probably going to password should be in the title. It's going to be relmz, relmz. Whew. Already at 14. All right, so. While we're waiting for everybody, gonna go over a few things that I don't think I had time to address before. The majority of the maps are going to be played in Challenge, all the Realms maps anyway. The tournament submission maps are going to be played in Sprint, but those are going to be played last. So, this next map, these next several maps, are going to be played in a different mode than all the rest. So at the beginning of the track, I'll let everybody know, and then as things go on, I'll just pull us out of the stream and then put everybody back in. But before I start the map, I'll let everybody know what map is going to be played in what mode. If you watch the little rules video, you should know what all that means. Lovely. Well, it looks like the chat integration app thing is working. Now I don't have to grab a whole bunch of other. Chat windows. Neat. What's the time at? 18 players already, and we haven't even started. Wow. Okay, well, 4 minutes remaining. Gosh, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I'll go ahead and get us started on here. secure the room. Hopefully we don't have to deal with any interruptions. Two minutes left. Yeah. Yep. 24 people already. Oh boy. Yeah, no, this stream I've budgeted an extra hour, yeah, just in case things go over. But since we're playing in challenge, it may or may not. This is going to be interesting. First time we've played a challenge tournament. I'm gonna also. This is also going to be the first time I'll. Actually, I think for the scroll down the chat. I think I'm getting all chat messages. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If we don't use up all our time, then we don't use all our time. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. All right. It is 4:59, so I'm going to go ahead and get things started. Going to move my mic so I can use my keyboard. All right. Clickety-clackety. These next few maps. 3. Are unrestricted skipping. So, all right, let's get this show on the road. Yeah, I know it's a mechanical keyboard, so it's one of the clickety clackety ones. Maybe I should mute my mic when I type out any messages. All right. Now there everybody goes, starting at the very beginning. A few people, it looks like, are taking a skip. There we go. Kinix is in the lead so far, going right to the end, not messing around, no nonsense from Kinix. He is just going from point A to point B, closely followed by Cerberus. Looks like both of them are taking the Swamp Realm Excella Charger, and off they go. Looks like we've had quite a few casualties already. Kinix taking a leap across the pond here. It looks like there's a big fog-making machine, which I never knew was there. Kinix up on the pipe, still in the lead, closely followed by Cerberus, Sparkles, and ECDU, or Ectu. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. There he goes. It looks like he has practiced and patented this route. He knows what he's doing. He knows where he's going. He has this under control. Widening the gap between him and now Sparkles in the second to last place, taking the Monument Realm Excella Charger. You can see him skip right there. He went directly from the Monument Realm charger right to the end, and it looks like he's got this thing in the bag. You can no longer see anybody left behind Kinix. Kinix is, at this point, very confidently lead back into the Accelodrome, and he has finished. Following behind Kinix, you can see Cerberus. Looks like something may or may not have happened to the person behind Cerberus. It looks like that may have been Sparkles. Don't see him. Can't really see what's going on there. Cerberus, second place. It looks like coming up behind Cerberus is, I can see Azure and ECDU coming up on the portal there. And it looks like there has been a considerable thinning of the herd. They've solidified third and fourth place. Let's see where everybody else is. Taku securing a solid placement, at least. Bean still in the running. Looks like he's got fifth. XMD taking it easy. You can see he's not using his boost there. Taking these jumps very seriously. Really taking to heart my warning about making sure that you are being conservative with your racing. And it looks like XMD is currently the last person left. Everybody else has been... Oh, let me mute my mic. There we go. XMD still driving. Is he going to make it? Well, that remains to be seen. He's got 25 seconds to bridge the distance between where he is now and the end portal. And from the looks of it, he may or may not make it to the end. It looks like he is going to join the rest of the party here with a DNF rating. Unfortunate. 2 seconds, 1 second left. He put up a valiant fight, didn't crash. He's the only one to be disqualified by time. Just going to let it sit on the screen a little bit so I can go back through the stream here and look at this. All right. Going to make sure that everybody is on the same page before moving to the next stream. Let's go ahead and get everybody cleared up here. Or reactor will be next. They are also unrestricted. And 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's go ahead and spectate again here. Trying to get into my whole announcer persona. Alright, everybody's loading up here. I don't know how many people I've got. As soon as I reach the end of ignition, I'm just going to go ahead and restart my game really quick. It's been known to crash. That's probably going to be fairly infuriating, so I'm just going to go ahead and take some precautionary measures. Alright, and there we go. There everybody goes. And here we are. Start of the map. Looks like it's the classical contenders here. We've got AMS, Blue Fox, Penguin. Gosh, everybody's kind of splitting up. It looks like Kinix has a different route in mind. You can see a hole there and behind. Let's go ahead and see what everybody else is doing. I'm sure we'll meet up with him sometime quickly here. Looks like Cerberus is currently in the lead on the main route, entering the main reactor, going through the main pipe, and handling those spinning turbines beautifully. Love how they grind on the walls there. And it looks like Energon Ironhide has taken a side door. Kinix is still in the wall. Sparkles, Sega Master, doing fairly well for himself. Sparkles a little bit in the lead on the main route here. Kinix has secured a solid lead for himself. Looks like he exited out of another wall, a hole in the wall here. Sparkles is close by on his heels. Sega Master taking the Accelercharger route doesn't glow for me since I'm in replay mode. Kinix again in the walls, taking a shortcut through the monitor room. You can see a bunch of surveillance equipment right there. Kinix looks like he is just about securing his first place placement, closing up on the portal there right at the end, and he is looking like he's going to finish first. Followed by Sparkles. Looks like Sega Master and Jay are coming in third and fourth respectively. Looks like we've got a few more casualties back in the back here. Lelouch and Jet are still in the running. Everybody else is either finished or wrecked. Alright, Jet is our last contestant. Another casualty. Alright, well that was a very quick match. A very decisive scoring system here. Everybody's throwing everything at the wall here. There's seeing a lot of effort and a lot of small mistakes. Just going to let it sit on this screen for a little bit here. Here we go. I think we lasted a total of maybe 2.5 minutes. Things are going quickly. And yes, I did skip to the next one. It's just sitting. I'm not sure why. Just gonna let it do its thing. Yeah, map's gonna load. It's just taking its time. All right. Remember, since you are playing on challenge mode, A placement is better than no placement at all. So there are two scenarios. Most likely, you will not place first. Alright, so, the Monument Realm. Beautiful, lovely forests, vistas, everybody in a big swarm right here. I'm sure that does wonders for the majority of people's computers, unless they're playing on several $1,000 machine. Yes. One of the advantages of doing tournaments like this. So Cerberus, it looks like taking the lead here in this Monument Realm. Closely followed by Jay, Zector, Nick Elements. I do not see Kinix. That is not to say that he isn't somewhere close by. He may or may not be around. Cerberus is really securing his lead. It looks like he's carrying that momentum right into the secret passage here. Hard to tell just exactly what's going on, but as soon as you approach it, it locks onto one of 3 columns. Cerberus is going to have to face a very unique challenge. Let's go ahead and see if we can find Cerberus here. Looks like Kinix is still in the runnings. Cerberus appears to have secured the lead unless Kinix is playing for the long game. He's got one of several paths to choose, and it looks like there he goes. Oh boy, where'd he go? XMD, Caroline Fox, there's Kinix. Looks like Cerberus has just about secured this placement for himself. Not a whole lot of people dying on this map, which is interesting, given that we've seen very high casualties before. Cerberus securing his first place placement, closely followed by Jay. Surprised that I'm not seeing Kinix further in the lead, but that's all right. He can't win them all. He's done remarkably well for himself so far. Zector following close behind, getting that final checkpoint. It is all smooth sailing from now. You can't see it, but there are giant laser beams coming down from these monoliths here. Looks like there is quite a few finishing contestants this round, all hitting the portal one after another. And here we've got Lelouch. Let's see who else we've got. Quite a few still in the runnings here. All right. Kinix just taking it in from behind. He is not too far in the lead, but he is still finishing. That is still a placement. He's still getting points for finishing. Let's see here. Seisman, seeing a lot of new faces at this tournament. I suppose that's good. Major events like these attract the most participants. All right. We've got Caroline Fox, Bean, Jet, a whole lot of people. Looks like Caroline's making their way back up onto the track. Bean's placing. Wow, almost 40 people. That is crazy. Let's hope this this doesn't crash. All right, we've got Skib, Dinkelberg, seeing a lot of people placing, which is nice. It looks like people are finally getting into the flow of things, adjusting their play style. It's different playing in sprint than it is in challenge. Just taking a look at the chat now. Can't focus all of my attention on the chat, so I'm sorry if you say something and I don't answer. But yeah, distance is $25 normally. It goes on sale a whole lot though. All right, looks like Brano finding his way right across that final curve. Looks like it's smooth sailing once you get to this stretch. Very few people will make a mistake that will cost them the race at this point. Let's see who else we've got here. XMD hanging in there. He's done remarkably well. Not dying. I don't think XMD has had any crashing disqualifications, mostly just running out of time, and it looks like that trend is keeping up. He appears to be the last one coming. All right, so just going to go ahead and let them finish, and then just take a few minutes to make sure that the leaderboards are all here. It looks like a lot of people scoring points this round. We've got all the way into the 17th and the 19th. All right, going to go ahead and go back to the game lobby because we will be doing a shift. So, I suppose, although I haven't thought about this before, you could theoretically use a longer than 2 second skip to your advantage, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. So, without further ado, we are going to be getting into the brunt of the realms here. These next two realms will be played on Prohibited skip mode, and this will be interesting to see what it looks like. A lot of people are going to be traveling in a cloud. This may not work too well performance-wise. Let's see. All right, gonna go ahead and switch into spectator mode again. How many people have we got? Now this is an interesting map because it starts in the Silencer's headquarters, which is quite curious. Yeah, I regret the performance cost that is incurred for those who have less powerful machines, because that cloud there, that cloud of cars, how many people do we even have racing? Look at that. Jeez, gorgeous. The wheel of power isn't moving. And that is mostly just because of the fact that you need to be playing in order for animations to trigger. But everybody is still on the same route. Whole lot of noise there. This is going to be an interesting experience for those who are playing. Even more interesting for me, since I am spectating. Gosh, I bet there's going to be a fair bit of crashing and other technical errors that may occur as a result of just how many people that we've got here. Alright. So it looks like toward the front, you can see Sparkles, Azure, Cerberus. Through the tunnels, everyone is going, and it looks like both Sparkles and Jay are currently in the lead, and that is most likely a result of keeping their momentum up. They look like they are doing amazingly at making sure they conserve that momentum, that inertia, that they don't hit any obstacles, they don't grind on the sides of the track. They are making sure they stay exactly on the right line, and that is the result of lots of hours of practice. It's altogether a different skill from normal skipping. Having manual control over your track is very nice when you get from one point to another on a track, but what these players are doing here is altogether different. They are making sure they don't hit any obstacles. I don't think they are even using grip to adjust their turns. So it's just Cerberus, Sparkles, and Jay, and there they go. Alright, and it looks like they are using the hub to redirect the flow of their traffic. Cerberus appears to know the correct way to go. He looks very confident in his choice, because it looks like those tubes are redirecting you several different ways, around and around again, and it appears Cerberus was correct in his gambit. There he goes, through the track, and around in this accelodrome-like structure. You can see a minecart and some loot. You don't often see that when you're going through this track at high speeds, but it is there nonetheless as a decoration. Alright, closely followed by Nick, Penguin, S-Gib, and Psyman, as well as Zector. Cerberus appears to be in the lead, although it is difficult to tell with this mess of track. Kind of hard to tell who is where, and it looks like Azure has fallen off the track somewhat. Interesting. We're going to have to review some replays in order to figure out who is doing what. Azure, Sparkles, everybody is making their way to the end of the track as fast as they can, but it looks like Cerberus has all of this in muscle memory. Alright, we're approaching a downward slope and a little bit of looping track around the edge of kind of a dusty canyon here. Pick up a lot of speed going down that piece of track, and you want to be sure that you do not waste it, that you do not spend time hitting any walls, and back into the ground you go. Another several loops of track. Cerberus securing his lead again and again. Yes, there were several tournaments in 2019. A very solid lead. It looks like he has got all of the different strategies for this realm down. It's mostly about track control. It's mostly about finding the right line and sticking to it. And wow, look at that. That is some gorgeous track looping that you don't really see from first or third person on the track, but from this perspective it is quite interesting. Alright, there he goes. Another drilling machine, an interesting custom object right there. Through these rocks of what look like gold or basalt or feldspar or something like that. Closely followed by a few other contestants, but Cerberus has not given up that lead. And I'll take this moment to remind everybody watching, everybody in the audience, that we are playing in challenge mode, which means that a single mistake, one wrong turn into a hard wall, and your car is in fragments. You do not finish. So it is still quite possible that Cerberus will make some small mistake that will cost him the race. Very high stakes racing, more about the long game than anything else. All right. Here we go. And it looks like the final section of the track. Cerberus making his way all the way to the end, and he is the first to finish, closely followed by Sparkles and Azure. These are players who have finished the track without making a single mistake. Here comes Nick Elements, Penguin, and not finishing in first is not necessarily an immediate death sentence. You can still make it to the finals without having finished first in every race using a modified scoring system, so that any points, any finishing at all, is worth quite a bit more than several first position finishing points. Alright, let's see who else we've got going here. Looks like everybody else is finally making it to the end. Jet miscalculated the height of that jump, recovering onto the track. That will not be penalized. Simple mistake isn't necessarily classified as a skip. You've got several other players who are very close together. I can't quite see their names. Louch, JC Squared, Wolf, they all are in the finals. Let's see here. We've got Jet, Teku, and XMD, and it appears those are the final players for the Tunnel Realm. Wow. Okay. XMD currently right in the back, but doing really great at making sure that there is a stability to the driving style. Slow but steady is the style of this player here. Yeah, tournaments are closer to monthly than they are to weekly, but they're kind of intermittent. Alright, XMD, let's see how you do the rest of this. I'll take this opportunity to read some of the fun stuff that's going on in the stream chat. Alright, no, Distance is not on PS4, not yet. The developers eventually do plan to release it for PS4, but they haven't gotten around to it yet. And it looks like XMD is putting one right at the edge, right at the cuff. Finishing, but just barely. Alright, so that's everybody. Let's grab a few frames of the results on something more basic. Okay, so we've got, that's all visible, 15 placements. We've got 41 people total, holy cow. Alright. Alright, Desert Realm, that's going to be fun. I believe the what was it? Yeah, Mac has a version of this mod that works, but it's a modified version of Linux. Let's see what else people are saying. Some tracks are textured backwards because it's kind of the way things worked out. Alright, restricted means that in the Accelerodrome, no funny business. Looks split about half and half. Very, very nice, almost liquid flow of players coming around the Accelerodrome track. Looks like Kinix is in the lead, and into the portal they go. Oh boy, let's get out of that swarm. I'm sure that's a swarm of frames here. It looks like Cerberus is taking a gamble, what with making a line of best fit on the track. That will lead to a few penalties, but perhaps he thinks that this time can make up for it. Well, only time will tell. Big group of players right there. I can hardly tell names. Everything is really close. Let's get in a little bit closer. Things will get a little bit smaller, easier to tell who is where. Azure currently in the lead. Cerberus is kind of sticking out a little bit farther, but as this is a prohibited skipping map, I anticipate a few penalties will take him a few seconds behind the first or second spots, given what the footage shows on replay when I finally tally things up. Gonna go ahead and take an overhead view here. We've got a little bit of a snaking through the town, whole desert storm here, low visibility but not super low. You can't really tell what's ahead, but there is a whole cliffside section up ahead here that is going to be very tricky to play. And it looks like, despite this map being played on challenge mode, pardon me, quite a few people are still in the running. It looks like playstyles have adapted. People are still going. Sandy Witch taking another liberty, as well as Cerberus. Looks like they are banking on the penalties not pulling them too far behind where they would be normally. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at who is currently in the lead. Sparkles, Cerberus. A lot of deviation from the track on this map, and it looks like both Sparkles and Cerberus are taking a long way around. Sandy Witch, it appears, is just planning on getting to the end before anyone else. Doesn't appear that they are very concerned with points, as they are deviating from the track on a prohibited map, or it could be that they just don't know about the different rule classifications. Cerberus, Sparkles, and Kinix, it looks like, is staying very close to the track. This section in particular can be very perilous, because as soon as you fall off of this very thin piece of track, you fall through these sinking sands and onto the kill grid below. And it looks like Kinix may have just bit it. I do not see his name any longer. Unfortunate, but sometimes inevitable. It looks like the only people in the lead anymore are going to be closer to the Blue Fox. I cannot quite... Neamix, I believe is the name. Interesting. We've got Copperhead, Caroline Fox. Still a lot of people on this section. This is where we're going to lose the most people. Cerberus and Sparkles just made it to the end over this section of quicksand boss fight, and also I'm not quite sure if I see Sandy Witch in the running anymore. Boss fight also took the road around the quicksand. See a lot of criticism of this choice in map, but I decided it would be better to have it than not. Maybe I'm just sadistic. Alright, Cerberus, boss fight, Sparkles. Looks like rules are just suggestions here. Nobody really seems to be taking the classification of this as a restricted map very seriously, which is not entirely unpredictable. Kind of why I shied away from making any rules about skips in the previous tournaments or being very strict about it, but that's all fine. We're just here to have fun anyway. Cerberus boss fight, going around this twisting piece of track. Very nice bow tie loop around that pyramid, laying on it like a piece of string. These tracks look like they're made out of bricks. I thought that was wood. Anyways, Cerberus and boss fight, it is safe to say, have this map in the bag. It doesn't look like anybody else who took a cut has currently made it to the end. But we've got the Blue Fox and Neamix coming up behind everybody else. A lot of people still hanging out on those pieces of really spindly road above the quicksand, and if my memories of playing this track are at all accurate, that is particularly nerve-wracking. So props to everybody who's hanging in there above that section. Cerberus, making a quick first, boss fight a second, although from the replays, unlikely that they would have any actual placement after factoring in reductions for off-track time. Yes. Blue Fox and Yamix taking a longer track, looks like going around the back of the pyramid, coming back through the roundabout way. And in the home stretch, it's safe to say that nothing will happen between here and the portal, so I am going to go ahead and switch my attention to some of the other players who have yet to fish themselves through this quicksand section here. We've got Kipkai Fox with his Mach 6 tediously and slowly working his way through these looping sections of track above quicksand. Him and Red L, who is taking, I want to say that's RDO 2, but do not quote me on that, I'm most likely wrong. And here we go. Between the two of them, wow, that was a mistake that almost cost Red the match. He's got Copperhead, Jack Attack, Energon, Ironhide, past the part of the Scorpions. Scorpions, might I add, are also no picnic. Here we've got Red L and Kipkai Fox very slowly, and understandably slowly, making their way through these tiny loops of track. And it is very important, especially since we are playing in challenge mode, that you take these sections with the utmost of care. One mistake, you cannot recover from this. Something you may not know from not having played this game or this map yourself is that this particular map has very many restrictions as to how you can play it. Even in sprint mode, it is punishing, and I'm sure that's the majority of the reason there is such animosity toward it. It is understandable because you cannot use your thrusters and boost to correct a mistake. If you fall off from the side of the track, you cannot float up again. You are doomed to tumble and fall and scatter the chunks of your car among the kill grid. Alright, Energon Ironhide taking that final loop to the portal. Looks like he has got this map wrapped up. It is a toss-up for additional points between Kipkai Fox and Red L. Red L slowly but surely making his way through these looping sections above the quicksand. That is, I'm sure, nerve-wracking. You can see every now and again he'll get close to the edge and have to correct. If I remember correctly, he's also not playing on super powerful hardware, so he's most likely correcting for drops in frame, perhaps input lag, playing on a different class and with a significant handicap as far as hardware goes, but very sportsmanlike that he is participating at all. I know that is infuriating from personal experience. If you don't have a machine that can run sufficiently above 40 or 60 frames per second on average, then things can get much more challenging. And even if the game itself is fairly simple, it can be a significant bottleneck to skills developing. And as you can see here, he's making sure to take all the precautions that he can to get to the very end of this track. Alright, Kipkai Fox letting loose on the throttle, just made it through the section with the Scorpions. Lots of pop-ups there. It appears they know already what's in store for them. Looks like they're taking the final loop, just another section around here, and then past and around that pyramid here. Kipkai is just about in the clear here. Red L making his way just past the quicksand, and those are the pop-ups I was talking about. For the record, boosting on this section of track can be particularly treacherous as a result of what I mentioned. You cannot see the pop-ups until you are too close to them to change direction. And if I remember correctly, the pop-up blocking distance is somewhat shorter than on other pop-up blockers. Looks like he clipped the end of that rectangle right there. Very interesting that he is taking these loops slowly, but it is understandable. Looks like there's a little bit of a bottleneck there, making sure that he gets all the way to the end. Kip Kai Fox is making his way through the portal back to the Accelodrome and about wrapping it up. What's this? It looks like he is hanging out near the end zone, so never mind, I spoke too soon. To prevent the last person timer from starting. Red L is a considerable distance from the end portal, but thus far he has done a very good job sticking it out in the map. He is still in the running, still a part of this match, and it looks like there may just be a possibility for him to finish. Let's see, how much time do we have left? 60 seconds. It is going to be tight. He may just finish barely shy of where he needs to be. Looks like, oh my, he is gambling. I can't see a timer, and neither can he, so it's a toss-up on whether or not he'll actually make it to the end. It looks like he's got, oh man, it looks like he's got about 10 seconds left to make it to the end of the track, and cut just short, but a valiant effort. All right, so we've got 9 placements on this map, quite a few DNFs, respectable effort from everybody involved. Just gonna let it sit on the screen for just a little bit before going back to the game lobby. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make another announcement. All right. All right, let's go back to the tournament here. Let's get things started. Oh, Manu Martinez Lianes. The event is being hosted on distance. You just need to type in the server password relmz, which is in the title of the Twitch stream and in the description of the YouTube stream. Interesting seeing all these different comments being pulled together. The server is actually full? What? What? You're kidding. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. The server's gonna crash if that many people join. Holy fuck. Interesting. Oh, 40 out of 64. Cool. Not full. Wonderful. That's about what I thought. Whew. Is it preventing others from joining? All right, this map starts with little bit of a foray from that starting position to the accelerodrome. There is a jump starting out. Interesting to get through it. A false wall leads you into the accelerodrome, and keep in mind, skips here are restricted and not prohibited, so jumping from one piece of track to the next, fair game. No penalties will be awarded for small skips like that, so that ought to incentivize some more interesting playstyles here. And additionally, since it is a challenge, that'll be quite an interesting kind of double-edged knife. Do you want to skip, or do you want to stay on the main track where it's safe? Because some of these skips are quite risky indeed. Azure, Neomix, Sparkles, and Cerberus. Being the first to enter the realm here. There they go. My goodness. Teku's just kind of spinning in air. We've got Azure, Sparkles, I can make out Cerberus, and Jay. They are the four that are in the lead. How exciting. This map was the first to introduce arrows into the track, I should mention, because this is before the track texture patch was popularized. Alright, looks like Sparkles took a turn a little bit too far, had to correct. Same with Nick Elements. You've got to make sure that you stay on the track here. There are low borders to keep you in place, and it looks like Azure did not quite make it, which is very disappointing for them, I am sure, but they put up a valiant effort. They were right near the very front for the entirety of it. Alright, looks like we've got Jay, Cerberus, Blue Fox, and Sparkles coming right at the beginning, going down that mesmerizing spiral of light and wind that this is supposed to represent. Looks a little bit sharper and less defined from the outside, but from when you're in it, wow, that is hectic, that is crazy. Kind of difficult to see. Hard to tell names because it's so white, it just kind of blends it out. Alright, looks like Cerberus has secured himself a lead there, followed by Jay in what looks like... what car is Jay using? RD01, if I am correct. Cerberus taking an RD09 with purple glow. So down they go, followed by Jay, Sparkles, the Blue Fox, down that long vertical stretch of track. You can you can build up a lot of momentum on that, but you've got to make sure not to waste it when you go around that final loop, because it doesn't really cradle you. You've got to kind of let off a little bit if you want to stay on the track or in the middle of the track. Alright, and it looks like Cerberus has lost his lead somewhat to Jay. Then Sparkles and the Blue Fox, they are bringing up the rear there. There's a bit of fog, limited sight distance. The players are seeing something more like this, but luckily for me, in spectator mode, I can see things a little bit more clearly by just retreating past the render distance, and there is a bit of a road that just kind of intersects randomly there. Sparkles, Cerberus, it looks like, took a little bit of a tumble off the track, but regained composure quickly enough. Jay, Sparkles, Cerberus, and Blue Fox, looks like they are taking up the lead here, and it is very close to the end, entering the lightning dome. I'm going to go ahead and retreat a little bit so I can see things more clearly. Sparkles and Cerberus, who appears to have decided to skip the last section in favor of a little bit of a time penalty in order to secure the first place spot. Let's hope it works out for them. Sparkles coming in second, J-Bone J third, Blue Fox in fourth. Let's see how the other players are doing. Iron Man still on that main spiral. Let's see who else is currently still playing. Iron Man is the only one I see, so either the other players are spaced out, or Iron Man is just the last person. Iron Man and Teku are the last surviving participants. Looks like Teku is just falling toward the storm map. It looks like they just fell off the back of the map there. Iron Man looks like still in consideration for a decent amount of points. Iron Man, if they get to the end, will be securing the fifth place spot, which I think is around 15 points, 10, 15, maybe 12. They are they're doing good. They are still in the running here. Making their way down that long vertical straight. It looks like they don't quite feel comfortable boosting. I spoke too soon. There they go. Let's see how they'll handle this turn here. Advantage of them being the last player in the realm is that they get my sole attention. Alright, there's a straight here. Several explosions, pop-ups. Looks like they are taking their time with it. You can see they're really holding down on grip. They are not taking any risks when it comes to getting to the end of the track. They want to make sure that they arrive at the end portal in one piece, which is a smart decision because looking at the leaderboard, we only have about 4 placements with 2 players remaining, only one of which is on the actual track. So Iron Man making his way through this foggy section. This is the most high-risk section of the track because it is very difficult to see where you're going, but it looks like they are making up for that by letting off the boost a little bit, so they make sure that they get all the way to the end without any hiccups or accidents. Oh, and it looks like they were hit by an obstacle, but very graceful, using those grip thrusters to gently push themselves back onto the track, and yes, that was a very nice save. Couple of checkpoints remaining until they get to the very end. One more track split. Looks like they feel comfortable at this point, letting on the boost a little bit. Let's hope their luck remains intact. A little bit of a jump here, but it appears that this section of track is an invisible spline, so they don't have to pour on too much speed in order to get through it. One last section. Now, it's been a while since I played this map, so I'm not quite certain just exactly how many obstacles are on this, but we're about to find out. Going through the spirals very slowly, and if you wanted a canon explanation for this, I suppose someone's already finished, so all of the hazards have died down. Looks like it is a slow and kind of melodious end to this person's... Oh my goodness, what an upset right at the very end. I'll allow it. Fantastic. That was interesting to watch. All right, well, that's the end of that. About everybody who's finished is going to finish. I'd say that's a recovery. I'm not going to penalize that, especially since I was kind of invested in watching him finish. Teku's just kind of drifting down through the air, falling. Role-playing Kadim, I guess. I'm just going to go ahead and let the timer run out and use this time to read some of the chats here. All right. Modified formula rule set, yes. A lot of different conversation. Looks like we've got quite a few people watching, which is nice. Alright, so while everybody is at the end, I'm just going to let it stick on this screen for a little bit so I can rewind the stream and get everything. Alright, so one swamp is next. Again, same rules. Restricted. Skip. More than 2 seconds. Good penalty. Let's keep things moving. What am I seeing? E-pad. Can't quite tell what you're talking about, E. Patrick, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like I will be able to answer your question. I am going to have to switch into spectator mode again. Alright, after these next 2 realms, I'm going to be closing the server and reopening it because too much time, there's a memory overload error with distance that causes it to crash, and I don't want it to do that mid-level, so that's the precaution I'm going to be taking. And then we've got about half of the realms playlist left. After that, going to be interesting. Alright, so... custom maps and custom cars on PS4? Unfortunately, that's unlikely. A lot of the modding work is just like files that you have to install. I know, it sucks. The game itself, though, would still be worth picking up for... Oh, Titanium? Most likely. More than likely, the people who win the tournament will just make it available for download. If any one of the winners wants to share or release the file, I'll let them. Might just, like, I don't know, Photoshop some sort of a trophy. It's a nice model, so... Oh yeah, the improved new Metro Realm. The new and improved Metro Realm is not done! It isn't done yet. So, hard to do when I don't have a complete map to showcase. But, spoilers for everybody, there is a new Ice Realm that is going to be showed off in this tournament, which will be very entertaining to watch, I'm sure. If people haven't gotten practice, I am going to really recommend that everybody goes very slowly, because the map is very different from the majority of other playable stuff here. Wow, it looks like big cloud of players. I'm guessing about a 15 frames per second average for everybody in there. I can't imagine that's a whole lot of performance, especially considering that distance servers were built and designed to support up to, and I'm saying here, a maximum of 12 players. We've got, what, 40? All right, so in we go, everybody making their way into the Swamp Realm, which normally by itself is a mess, kind of laggy. Looks like the track looks pretty good, though, actually, from what I see here on the custom track texture patch. This is the closest thing I could get to the Swamp Realm that was in the in Ignition. It's, in my opinion, the best looking one, which is mostly what I base these maps off of. There are, of course, gameplay issues that I mean to fix, and it looks like Cerberus pulled a sneaky on us. Not quite sure exactly what moves he used to get up there, but I'd say that's probably close to about a 2-second skip, so really making sure to use those rules. Cerberus in the lead, skipped some unnecessary sections of track. Fun stuff. Looks like they are staying on the track from this point forward, though, and that may just be because this is a map that doesn't get a lot of play, so it could be they're just playing it safe because they're not familiar enough with the track to know better. Oh my god, what an upset! Cerberus, I do think just got taken out by a virus-dropping drone. No shame in it. No shame in crashing. Can't win them all, and they've been doing remarkably well so far. So it happens. Happens to the best of us. As you can see, since Cerberus was securing the majority of the first place medals here, it's difficult to tell who's actually in first and who, if anyone, is on the right track. This track is very easy to skip. You can jump from one track to the next. However, it is a toss-up whether or not you are on the correct piece of track. So only time will tell whether or not these four I'm currently watching here are actually the first on the track, are actually in the front. Looks like we've got a big cloud of stragglers. Things have spread out somewhat, and I'm kind of interested in how that happens. Just chaos, I suppose. You're bound to have a lot of variation. Let's see if we can switch our attention to Neomix and Kinix, who, by the looks of it, is also quite in first. There's a little bit of a detour here with the Hyperpod going through and around the track. Kind of an intentional sort of built-in skip. Interesting how that's been pulled off. Not the smoothest, but it works very well gameplay-wise. Neomix, interestingly enough, is actually appears to be in first, unless Vinny, way over to the side here, is actually closer to the finish line. Such a jungle in here, I can't tell which way is forward and which way is back. Difficult to say who goes where, but wouldn't you know it, Sparkles, Jay, Pines of Chaos, and Bean appear to have come from another piece of track and usurped the lead from Neomix and Kinix. There's the Swamp Monster, which is indicative of the end of the track. Difficult to see very far from anywhere in this map, but that is a dead giveaway. The simplest landmark to ensure that the end is nigh. Not to sound too dark there. Alright, Sparkles in the lead. Pines of Chaos bringing up a solid 4th place position. Bean and Jay making the sandwich between 1 and 4 in placement. And it looks like if they can keep from crashing, they have secured... Right about the end, I may be talking too soon here. There's another virus dropper drone. I don't believe I can see those actually move, as those are animated locally. But if memory serves, that should be dogging Sparkles right now. If we watch him, we should see him swerve to the left or to the right to avoid it. He may have already done that. Could be that he already passed it. Could be that it's still hovering above him ominously, threateningly. And it looks like Jay has made some sort of mistake. He appears to have either crashed... Oh, yep. From his expletive comment, it appears that he's made some small mistake that has led to him being turned into several hundred metal fragments. All right. We've got a lot of people on a lot of different tracks. Really busy, a lot of stuff going on. Sparkles maintaining his lead. Closely followed by Pines of Chaos and Bean. Pines gaining, really hammering home that consistency, that very refined kind of polished driving style, making sure that he does not hit any obstacles, may not have an immediate frontal lead, but a little bit of a trade-off here. It looks like Sparkles, while not crashing, has made their way around this blockade. Pines kind of falling into the lake there, trying to get back onto the track. Vinny handling that barrier gracefully. Looks like placements have changed somewhat right at the very last minute. We've got Neomix, Vinny, and several others here. Pines still bringing in a solid 5th or 6th after that last minute unexpectedly difficult to handle obstacle. We've got Seisman, Spotfire. Who's that? Echoes Guide Me. Very enigmatic for a name. Trying to find some way to get back onto the track, getting up a little bit higher so they can push off of it and get back onto the main route. Armist, Ironman, Brino, XMD still in the running. Looks like Boss Fight is just trying to get back onto the track, perhaps cutting from another piece of track. I'll have to factor that into the ultimate scores. A little bit more than a 2-second skip there. Have to make an adjustment as I am scoring things. Boss Fight is in the same position as Echoes Guide Me, trying to get back on the track after sticking themselves to this big hill there, trying to find some sort of a section they can use to push off of it and get back onto the main route. And it's proving to be a little bit tricky. They seem to be hung up there. Ironman 2099 finishing. Energon Ironhide also finishing right at the very end. Echoes Guide Me, it looks like has got it worked out. Points for all of these fellows here. Who else do we have? Brino, JC Squared, Boss Fight still in the running, still available to make it to the end, trying to figure out how to get around this enormous vine blockade, trying to work out some method they can use to overcome this intimidating obstacle. It looks like JC Squared having a little bit of a tough time getting around it, using this vine to bolster themselves. Looks like JC is taking Riveted, which only makes sense seeing as they are on the Metal Maniacs team, same as I am. Glad to see them finishing the majority of these maps, if not getting all the way to the end. Alright, looks like we've got just about 2 people left. Brino and JC. It appears, I want to say Brino is in the exit accelerodrome? That doesn't appear to be the start accelerodrome. Not sure why they're still on the track. Could just be waiting for JC to make it to the end. Alright. Let's see here. Yes, looks like Brino is indeed at the end of the map. I have confirmation on that. JC working out how to get off of this side here. The car that you drive does have magnetic wheels, so it's a little bit difficult to break from the wall. Although, yeah, especially difficult to do something like that if you aren't quite comfortable with air control. It looks like, unfortunately, GC was unable to make it to the very end. And that should should be everybody. Looks like we've got a total of 14 placements, ending with Brino. Just going to go ahead and let it sit on this screen for a tad bit longer, so I can revisit that in the replay. Alright, moving on. 2 more maps. Hey, what do you know? No Esophagus Boy is watching. We've got a whole lot of people. Don't take it too hard if there are criticisms of your maps. I know for my own personal creation, there's going to be a lot of fun shitting on the Ice Realm when it comes around. Probably a bunch of raging. It uses a bunch of modified physics values that I'm sure everybody will find just delightful if you catch my drift. Yeah. Here we go. Everybody taking off right off the bat. That first most accessible ramp on the Accelodrome, taking the same course here. It looks like Jay, right near the front Nick Elements. Easy to get a lead right at the very beginning. It's if you can maintain that same level of consistency throughout the entire track that will ultimately make or break you. And if you are on a slower machine, it is an excellent piece of strategy to hang back a little bit until the crowd has passed, because that can tank your frames. And having tanked frames, especially on the Cavern realm, is very dangerous. Alright, whoa, whoa, where am I? Where is everything? Controller fell into my lap. Alright, looks like Sparkles and Jay right in the very front. We've got that fun little baseline decal with those nice colored spotlights, and a fun animation here. You can't see it because it's not triggered, but a drone's car jumps off of this ramp onto this one and then crashes. Alright, looks like Sparkles still in the lead, Azure, Jay following close behind, Neomix proving to be more skilled than I had initially clocked them as. Another wrecked drone's car. They are very good at keeping pace with the rest of the herd here. Alright, dark section of track, a little bit of sunlight to illuminate that. We've got Sparkles, Jay, Azure, Pines of Chaos, all at the very beginning. Lots and lots and lots of people all in one giant amorphous cloud. Sparkles, unsurprisingly, right at the very beginning. Cerberus, Bean, Jay, and Azure. Looks like nobody felt comfortable grinding on the track to make the leap over there, but I suppose when you are in challenge mode, you've got to pick your battles. Jay, Azure, Bean, everybody making their way through these narrow... Oh, looks like we've got a casualty. Both Azure and Nick Elements. 2 for 1. There's been a thinning of the herds. Sparkles and Jay remain in the lead, confident and steadfast in their driving ability. Alright, and on we go. These are very close quarters tracks. It's most about, oh, another casualty. Jay is out of the running. He has been sacrificed. Sacrificed to, I want to say that's a stalagmite. Yeah. Alright, Sparkles, Bean, Pines of Chaos, and Cerberus, neck and neck. No, actually, that's Neomix. I get confused. Same purple glow. Sparkles making sure to stay way ahead of the pack. That is admirable. Right. Nothing very exciting going on right here at the front. He's going through a few tighter corridors. Let's hope his luck holds out and that nothing blindsides him. Looks like he has come prepared, or at least knows this track fairly well from the beginning. Corridors are getting tighter and tighter. As you can see, the gaps between the track and the obstacles are getting smaller and smaller. Quick loop there. Not a whole lot of room to this side, and that's a mistake a lot of players make. They gotta dodge to one side or the other because they're facing an obstacle head-on. They choose the side with less room, sometimes not enough to let them through. Bam! And that's it. They're out. Interesting. SGB, oh no, that's another part of the track. It loops around. I forgot. Very many tunnels. More close quarters. Sparkles is maintaining his lead right there at the very front. Closely followed by Bean, Neomix, I am probably mispronouncing that every time. For that, I apologize. I am very sorry. Cerberus, Zector, and several others further back. It looks like Kinix is staying in the running here. I've let the people get too far ahead. Looks like Pines. Oh! That is the big sad. Those are big sad feels. Pines hit a stalactite right at the very finish. But he put up a good fight for the majority of the map, which is all you can hope for sometimes, you know? Alright, let's see who else we've got. Teku kind of bringing up the rear. We've got XMD, Armist, representing the Metal Maniacs team, taking Jackhammer into the Cavern realm, which is very nostalgic for me. Raider Zulu, I haven't heard that name in quite a while. Armist, XMD, who else have we got here? This track is somewhat spread out, so I can't quite make out everybody's name. Is that the only remaining two? Kip Kai Fox. Some wreck-thrown cars right behind him. Again, playing it safe, making sure he gets to the end, not necessarily concerned about doing it with the most speed. XMD finishing, placing. Kip Kai Fox is the last remaining team. He's got 60 seconds on the timer. Let's go ahead and stay in the chase cam. Now he's about, I would say, at about 60% of the map right now. Odds are not looking good for him to reach the end, but with his remaining time, he can get closer to the finish line, which is sometimes all you can do. Just stay on the track for the entire duration. Really rewarding that cautious gameplay is the center of attention once again by making sure that he does not wreck. Ooh, almost wiped out on that stalagmite. That was close. You can see his car model wiggle a little bit as he clipped it, but he didn't hit it head on enough to actually destroy his car. Let's hope that luck holds out. And the time ran out. All right, let's go ahead and grab a quick shot. Looks like we've got 12 placements here, ending in XMD. All right. So this is a map that I am very familiar with, one of my own. I think the first map we've played so far that I have actually made. More of a graphics overall. All of the track placement is the same from the original. Getting a little bit framey there. Reminder that that small break after this track is very necessary. All right. The good old Alex chosen Accelerodrome with that smooth red coloration. It looks great with the original track. Doesn't look as great with the track texture mod, but you can still kind of see the shapes. There's a really heavy red filter being applied. Looks like the cloud has been somewhat thinned. And here we go, into the lava. Now this is going to be somewhat of an interesting map because this map does not have infinite boost. So you are going to see a lot of the players make sure that they hit. There's invisible checkpoints and you can hear them, you can't see them. Ooh, looks like we've had a little bit of a lag spike there. People are staying in a very tight, intense clump. And it really shows performance-wise. I'm going to keep my distance. Those little blue cooldown rings are going to be crucial for the players to hit in order for them to stay in the lead. Because the name of the game on this map is just how well can you keep your boost up throughout the entire track. And in order to help yourself do that, you are going to have to make sure that you hit each and every one of these cooldown rings. You can be sure that the players right at the very beginning, Sparkles particularly, are hitting each and every one of those rings, making sure that each one gets paid attention to. You can see them hugging the inside of the turn, making sure that the travel distance they use, the line they exert on the track, is the shortest one, using that to their advantage. Looks like we've got Sparkles right at the very lead, Jay, Kinix, the Blue Fox, Pines of Chaos, Spotfire, and Naomix right at the very back, but it is anybody's game. There are a few more difficult obstacles up ahead that could somewhat upset the scores. Only time will tell. For now, it looks like a somewhat straightforward ride to the end. This is a somewhat more familiar map to the majority of the people on this server. It's a classic. It's been around for a while, and generally one of the more popular lava realms on the workshop. Alright, Sparkles. Looks like Kinix has taken second place. A few obstacles there. You can see the players weaving through and around them. No, to answer Nick Element's question, this isn't the last realm. I'll just be taking the server offline temporarily. I'll be reloading distance so that I don't get a memory overflow error in the middle of a map, which would be really unfortunate. We've got Sparkles, Kinix still in first and second. Jay, the Blue Fox, still right close to the very, very front of the pack here. There are 2 forks ahead. Wow, looks like Sandy Witch is either still in the Accelodrome or taking a shortcut. I don't know what's going on there. Sparkles looks like they are taking the lower route, somewhat more straightforward. However, it is very easy to explode from overheating if you get too close. That is the peril of taking that route. It is very easy to try and hold boost. You can see they're slowing down somewhat, and that is because they cannot... Yeah, you can hear alarm bells going on there because he's reaching his boost maximum and getting very, very close to that again and again. You've got to pretty much make sure to use what boost you have when you can when you're on that route. Looks like Sparkles is able to pull it off, reining in that first place. Kinix in second, Jay in third, Zector, Neomix, Spotfire, and I think that's spelled Dozy, Pines of Chaos. Everybody is coming in right off that straightaway, right into the end portal. After you hit this re-emergence fork, it is very difficult to die afterwards unless you make a somewhat fatal mistake. Looks like we've got Armist still hanging in there. He's taking the other route through the lava cave, around again. A lot more cooldown rings, however, not as straightforward as the path that goes closer to the lava. Got 60 seconds left on the clock. He is easily gonna make it. I'd say that's close enough that with him going at max speed, he can make his way right to the end. Use this as an excuse to show off the jackhammer model. Love those details, which were done, by the way, traced in Photoshop by, who was it? JC Squared. Not sure if he is still in the running. Saw him leaving the server at one point. Gonna go ahead and send us all back to the lobby. All right. All right. Ooh, cool. OBS. Let's go ahead and restart distance. Let's get back into it. RELMZ. I'll just go ahead and type in chat. Fun. I don't think I actually, for the Lava Realm, got a shot of the leaderboard, so I'm gonna have to look at the chat to piece together who placed where for that one. Hopefully, oh shit, that's not what I was trying to do. Give me just a second. I made a mistake. Back to the main menu. Sorry. Online host. Same password as before, and I'll just go ahead and wait for everybody to rejoin. Alright, and we are going to restart on the speed of silence. That's going to be fun. I'm going to wait for us to reach around 40 people, before I start things. All right, we're at 22, 24. GDI. Oh, I see. Right. That's what that acronym. Sandy. No. I'll still get everybody. I'll still get everybody. I'm just gonna have to watch the chat. I will make sure everybody gets counted. Impossible to pull out one of these things with zero mistakes, but I'm approaching there. All right, 36, 35. Still climbing. Still climbing. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. I'm gonna wait until we get at least. I'm gonna wait until it stops. Until it stops climbing. Yeah, not 100% sure that all the messages are coming through everywhere. It says that everything is connected, but oh, is the Twitch chat not showing up on Discord? Interesting. All right, we were at 41. Let's do it. This is going to be interesting. No, you're most likely not the only Brazilian here. There's a whole lot of Brazilians in the Acceleracers fan community that I have noticed. It makes up quite a significant portion. Brazil, Portugal, not sure what else. Probably Belize. Maybe that's a part of Brazil. Geography is not my strong suit. All right. That starting area, you can see many people taking different accelerodromes, different starting zones. Still a few people overlapping. You've got folks who are in. Oh, looks like It looks like I may have started this in sprint. Oh well. Still quite a few people here. Oh, never mind. That's not sprint. That is actually challenge. Never mind. Okay, really hectic. Wow. I'm gonna go ahead and hop out of spectator mode. Looks like Cerberus took the easy way out, and I believe skipped to the end. Not sure exactly how he does that. It's been a while since I've checked in on the skips of this map, but I'm sure it's a simple exploit. It didn't take him more than 20 seconds. Most likely not going to count his score on this map as the rules haven't changed, so he's probably going to be pretty heavily fined for the time that he is off track. But impressive that he pulled it off nonetheless. Looks like right in front we've got Zector here, closely followed by Azure, Penguin, Wolf, Sandy Witch, Seisman, Dinkelberg, Nick Elements, a bunch of others. He's most likely going to be taking the track down to the depths. That's going to be a fun thing to watch. That's most likely what the majority of people are going to take, except for a few who seem to be banking on not necessarily scoring points, but having an easier time of getting to the top, as there are quite a few dangerous force zones down here, right at the bottom of the sea. Look at that. Lots of fog, lots of darkness and calm. The music is stopped. That's most likely because there is no music on this map by default. Going to be a little bit eerie for me, just talking into silence, as there isn't any music for me to narrate to, but Looks like we've got quite a few folks on the upper end here. Further you go, more colorful things get. Still love the vibes that I get on this track here, going around those loops. Very nice, gentle curves. They just kind of wrap around and hug these bits of coral. All right, it looks like Azure and Zector getting into this hyperpod here. You can't see it since I'm spectating, but that top bit does come down. And then the fun begins. Azure, Zector, and Sandywich really catching up on everybody else. Sandywich most likely got the force zone. You can see that they are really making up that lost time that it took to activate that hyperpod, that force zone right there. All right, let's see. They are most likely the first to the surface. I'm gonna see if I can skip to them. Follow Cam. Here we go. Just about to break the surface here. And I will tell you all a secret. Most likely, you're not used to seeing the water realm top looking like this, and that is because the water does not exist until you pass a trigger that expands it. That's to prevent it from blocking the pipe. All right, let's see. Sandywich, I don't see in the running anymore. She seems, or here she seems to have stopped. Perhaps a connection issue. Not quite putting in everything properly. This is quite a big map, lots of distance to be covered, lots of objects to be counted, so it is possible there are performance issues going on, but let it be known that they have the lead until something appears to have happened. But currently, in the lead, we've got Penguin and Jay. Looks like they're going quite slow from down here, but if we position the camera right next to the track, boy, well, I mean, still not super fast, but you get the picture. They're moving at a more advanced clip than this distance would have you believe. All right, Jay, Nick Elements, Seisman, and you can't quite see it, but there are water splashes. If you've watched the video, you know what to look for. And sparkles. The majority of the higher profile players that we have seen finishing in the top 5 spots appear to have made it to the end. Knix is bringing up the rear here. Still hanging in there in the top 10 spot easily, although there are several different challenges they've had to face in this match, in this tournament so far. Lots of different variables, lots of different track playstyles. Cerberus, I'm most likely going to disqualify him since it was an accelerodrome skipped, and since this is a restricted playstyle map, those are disallowed. But no need to get riled up about it. As again, this tournament is just for fun, and I mean, kind of difficult to have fun if everybody's yelling at each other. Let's just not take it seriously. That's the approach I take with my life. Ha ha ha. Self-deprecating humor there. Buzzkill Gaming looks like in the lead of those left. The majority of the players here most likely either got a late start in the accelerodrome or took the top route. It's worth it for how pretty it is. Buzzkill Gaming landing that challenging jump there. Looks like they are making their way to the very end. Interesting choice of car. Really appropriate for making their way through a water realm, especially considering that Wave Rippers did have quite a few advantages when it came to car abilities, which, if I may digress here, is a lot of the reason I like distance. Looks like it's getting quieter. Everybody's finishing up. Copperhead dropping down that little piece of track. Like how that looks. A little bit of a lag, or perhaps they just let off the boost. Interesting. But yes, to digress. Distance as a game works so beautifully for this sort of just ridiculous kind of like wonderful, crazy fantasy racing here. Let's see, Bamboozle looks like they are taking their way very slowly up this coral pillar. Actually, I'd say that's more of a mountain rock, not coral. Very slowly climbing into the light. 60 seconds on the clock. I don't think they are going to get to the end, but as it is sometimes mesmerizing to watch a turtle in its own subtle, slow, meandering way crawl over a large rock, so must we now, both myself and the audience, watch Bamboozle make his way to the top of this piece of rock, before inevitably getting a DNF. It appears he's reached the top. He drifts listlessly now. No purpose in life. No cause to satiate him. And that is that. I will not make the same mistake I did just a little bit ago. Gonna make sure I get a shot of all the timestamps here. There you see Cerberus with a 24-second finish mark. Very, very quick. I was close. I was close with 20 seconds. And let's see. We've got up to 18 people total who will be receiving points. All right. Without further ado, let's keep moving. Interesting to... Oh man, I've never used this before. This works really well. Thanks for everybody who participated, even if you don't make it through the entire tournament. This is taking a little bit longer than I thought it would to get through all of the realms. Jesus Christ. We'll get as far as we can, though. No, most likely. Right. Yeah, some people I'm sure are just playing for fun. Which is perfectly acceptable. You don't have to register with the tournament. It's not like there's a big money prize, anyway. As a disambiguation, there was actually a video released on my channel. If you're on the Discord, you can see it in announcements. It was just like a quick, simple rules update. I know I made it kind of last minute, but I didn't have a whole lot of time, what with several map projects I had going on and refreshing the textures and mesh data for a lot of the Metal Maniacs cars. So I could get them ready for the tournament and get prettier models for everybody to use. Because part of me thinks that that's why a lot of people don't like using those models, is because they have kind of grainy textures. And in we go! Lot of death. Wow, look at that. Over and over and over again. Wrecking and wrecking and wrecking. Looks like Azure is driving on the side and the top of the track, which is allowed since you are technically still on the track. Leaving the track for more than 2 seconds is what will incur a penalty. Sparkles right at the very beginning. It doesn't look like he is even paying any heed to taking any sort of a shortcut. It looks like the time that you lose from taking the shortcut is not quite worth the time that you can gain by just dodging the cars. Simply going to go ahead and switch to an overhead view here. Back up just a little bit. It's Sparkles and Azure right in the lead there, staying directly on the freeway, not messing around. They are going right to the very finish. Sparkles, it looks like, taking this opportunity to make use of that restricted and not prohibited skip rule set. What's his game? He's making his way to the very end of the city before turning around and cutting across the city so he can get back on... I see now. It's all become clear. Get back on the track. Oh, and it looks like he had it. He had it. He almost had it, and he would have gotten through it without any sort of penalties too, because that's a less than 2 second skip to get from this piece of track back onto the freeway. So both Jay and the Blue Fox are able to make it from point A to point B without actually getting any sort of penalties here. It looks like the Blue Fox has usurped the first place spot, closely followed by Jay and Spotfire. And as you can probably recall, in this map, jumping is enabled, so skipping is even easier than in any sort of other map. Alright, looks like Kinnick's taking up 4th place with Spotfire. Those placements are it's very unlikely that those placements are going to change, as on this long, straight piece of track, there's not a whole lot that can even the playing field. So, Blue Fox looks like it's just about secured 1st place. Jay coming in 2nd, really making sure to get those top placements. There hasn't been really any consistent 1st place contenders. So, who the winner of this tournament is going to be, it's going to be fairly uncertain. Jay, though, is looking pretty solid. So far, he has finished near or around 2nd or 3rd place consistently for the majority of these maps, and that's what will get you the most amount of points. Wrecking is an automatic DQ, meaning you get no points from that level, and Jay, while being somewhat cautious, has spent the majority of his time finishing on this map. Alright, looks like a few other hangers-on, stragglers, another less than 2 second skip. So this is what I mean as a disambiguation when skips are restricted. Something like this, perfectly acceptable, it's reasonable. You're skipping one section of track to make a straighter line to the very end, but nothing that separates you from the main route for more than 2 seconds, which I feel is more than reasonable. Nick Elements, flapping around like a fish. What's he doing? In Iridium. Very nice looking car. Looks like he is not going to be making use of this small little segue there that some others have, including Dosey here. Perhaps he's not confident in his abilities, perhaps he just made that decision on principle. And it looks like we've got Nick Elements, Wolf, and Echoes Guide Me. We're here. Caroline Fox and several others, it looks like, are still in the city. They appear to have separated from the freeway for a bit in order to perhaps make it to the end with fewer obstacles. I'm gonna have to have Nick message me after this. I'm not sure what he means by those. Alright, Caroline Fox looks like is on the straightaway to another placement. Who we got here? Hit names accidentally. Red L and Tato Schulz, as well as XMD and Cerberus, appear to just be... Oh, wait, that name is stationary. That's most likely a post-mortem. Interestingly enough, I was not aware that those hung around. You can see precisely where Sparkles met their untimely demise. They either hit a wall here or accidentally, without meaning to, hit the reset button. There's also Cerberus, and can't say for certain whether or not the car is just being left or... yes, it appears that there was not enough clearance right under here for Cerberus to make it all the way through. A bunch of names you can see hanging out in the Accelodrome. A lot of deaths over there. Energon Ironhide, Neo Yamix, and Red L from the outlines. I don't know, Neo Yamix. No outline. It's going to be Red L, XMD, and Energon Ironhide back on the freeway again. Going towards the end, going to get himself some points. Wonderful. Once you get on that freeway, after the cars clear out, it's just about a straight shot to the end. A lot of the more difficult challenges clear out right about when you hit that bend over there. You've got XMD and Red making their way very slowly and carefully to the end, making sure to avoid all of the cars. It looks like I'm going to have a whole bunch of bands to hand out after this tournament is over. That'll be fun. Alright, Red and XMD. I'm going to go ahead and switch into chase cam. Energon Ironhide. Energon Ironhide in RD01, making his way straight shot right to the very end. Red L still very slowly and carefully making his way, hitting those checkpoints, going right towards the very end. It looks like if they keep this up, both Red and XMD will have placements. Not necessarily top 10 placements, unless of course there's still room. We're at 13 total with 3 players still on the map. And XMD using his jump ability to correct a small mistake. Placement. Let's see what Energon Ironhide. Is this RD10? I have a hard time telling. To correct myself from earlier, RD10 and not RD01, as apparently I don't know the difference. It looks like they're taking the loop around, under, and then back through in order to get to the portal. Not a whole lot can go wrong, unless, of course, they plan on reversing and taking the jump around through, which looks like may be the case. Perhaps they listened to my commentary and thought, ha, he thinks I'm a chump, and changed their mind based on that. Alright, XMD and Red still making their way through the city. It is uncertain just exactly what direction Red is going in. I think that's still the correct way. Hard to say, this track is like a maze sometimes. Yeah, I believe he's still pointed in the right direction. XMD making his way to the end on the final island. Looks like Red L is going to be facing a little bit of a countdown timer if he can't close the distance between him and XMD, or if XMD makes a small mistake here. Right. Curving around, going the long way around. It looks like he is out of the main island. He is on the long, lonely stretch of highway that joins the two. I call them Day Island and Night Island in my head. And it looks like that timer is just starting now. 60 seconds. It is possible that he'll still finish, but he is going to need to take that final jump. It's uncertain with his playstyle whether or not he'll be comfortable doing that, or whether or not he'll even be able to pull it off. So only time will tell what happens. Red getting close. I'd say he's about at 40 seconds remaining at this point. 40, 45. Still counting down long stretch of track between where he is and where he needs to be. Let's hope he's able to clear the distance. It's looking close. It is looking real close. No timer on the back of his car. Not quite sure if he remembers he can jump. Cost him a few seconds there. And if he's going to try to rub on the side of the track in order to get out of this last section, that's going to cost him a DNF. Yeah, there we go. It was close. I'm not sure he would have made it either way. All right, let's go ahead and just grab that leaderboard here. We've got up to 15. Wonderful. Alright, gonna go ahead and spectate. Lovely. I think I'm just gonna use chase cam for this. I'm gonna follow several of the silencers here, and it looks like team affiliations don't quite play that much of a role in who goes where. Neither do they really play a role into what cars everybody is using, but not like that's that big of a deal anyway. Okay, everybody making their way into the realm. Let's see if we've got anybody who's made it. Sparkles, really close. All right, this is going to be somewhat interesting. A lot of small skips, most likely. ECDU, not sure if they were quite able to make it. Pines of Chaos, it does not look is quite concerned with points on this level, as they've just cleared a majority of the track, which disqualifies them from placing, but not necessarily from finishing first. So it looks like for their audacity, and for the record, Pines I'm not sure is even quite participating in the tournament, if that makes any difference. For their audacity, they are getting first on the official leaderboard. I suppose not. I may have spoken too soon. 1, 2, a few more than 2 second skips here, which will result in some score dockings. That's going to take a whole lot of time to score. I may recruit some other people here. Looks like ants crawling down this spiraling track, and you can see very creative use of the prohibited skip rule. Both flying and jumping is enabled here. Looks like Pines is just hanging out near the end to congratulate winners, perhaps. Let's see. You can see very small track-to-track skips. If you want to skip 1 or 2 levels, you can do that within 2 seconds without incurring an actual penalty. I'm just going to leave the camera on this frame here. I can see what's going on from my perch, kind of taken back from the action here. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. Penguin making it within the top 5, I'm sure, at this point. Pines is just kind of tooling around, as far as I can tell. On this map, I feel like I should mention flying is enabled, boost is enabled, jump is enabled, jets are enabled, and infinite cooldown is also enabled. So you can very well pretty much just fly anywhere you please. Let's see here. Several other placements. It looks like there are 1 or 2 contestants who have taken the rule seriously, and that is going to be very hectic to sort out and assign penalties and scores. Probably going to take a week or 2 before we know who actually won this thing, especially with the modified rules. This will be an interesting learning experience. We've got Zector, Echoes Guide Me, Dinkelberg, Pines of Chaos still just kind of milling around, Rocket Launching Boy attempting to regain their bearings from the look of it, Caroline Fox, Brino, Galaxy's Mind taking that final loop there, Neo Yamix, Jet, Galaxy's Mind. Red L looks like is taking the track very easily. This is kind of a nice, almost a game break, sort of a gentle break from the monotony of straight realms. Very easy to get to the end. The amount of track that you have is well above 2.5 minutes worth if you do not take any jump cuts. However, that also opens the possibility of much more creative playstyles. Isn't very good at policing it, however. This is more of a realms map than anything else, and it appears the rationale behind Pines of Chaos's apparent goofballery is that they are preventing the realm timer from being triggered. Going to have a lot of placements on this. I'm guessing probably upwards of 20 people on the leaderboard, a lot of points being assigned to a lot of people. Only time will tell just exactly how many points everybody gets after assigned modifiers for longer versus shorter skips, as there certainly were several that went over 2 seconds, if I remember correctly here. All right, looks like Pines of Chaos taking it right to the end. Lovely. All right, so going to go ahead and get a few shots of the scoreboard here. We've got Cerberus coming in first with a very simple, straightforward skip. Going to have an interesting time assigning penalty points for that. 4th, Nick Elements, going up to 18, 33 different placements. A lot of people getting points here. A total of 34 people finishing with just the remaining 7 of us sitting out. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of time here So this, for those who don't know, is a new map. I teased this a little bit on YouTube in the community channel. There's also going to be no music on this, which is a shame. Oh goodness me, I may have chosen the wrong... Lovely. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and wait for everybody to rejoin. I think that may have been the wrong map. I've always got two versions. This is the right one. I thought that was the one that I got. Well, apologies to everybody for that. This is outside of the playlist. Yeah, we're still going. I'm not doing the ultimate race. God, we're at about 12 minutes left with our 2-hour allotment. We've still got several maps to go. I'm gonna extend this a little bit. Let me just text a few people here. There we go. Are we back up to 40? Lovely. 37. Boy, that's some fun stream chat. Yeah, for anybody who was kicked out, just rejoin. Not an issue on your side. It is totally 100% an issue on my side. For anybody who doesn't know how distance levels work, there are two versions of the speed of silence. You can see one here, no description found, no author. And then there's another here that's actually on the workshop. So this is the one that everybody should have played. Oh, fun. Another question. But this is the one that I put in the playlist, and that was a mistake. All right, we're at 39. I'm just going to go ahead and start things. Reverb revamp? Yeah, I should probably give that some love. All right, looks like this is the right one. Everything is working now. Lovely. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to chase cam. Raw challenge on short tracks. Short tracks. Yeah. Gonna be tricky figuring out which player to follow. All right, RJ. Interesting. Was not expecting them. Let's go ahead and see what fortunes may lie ahead. Hopefully, RJ isn't too wrought with pain and suffering when they discover that this is challenge mode, as I'm not quite sure that a lot of people know what challenge mode is. It doesn't get a whole lot of playtime. Alright, surely we can see someone who's in the realm at this point. And there we go! Read on ambience. You can see completely new, different ambiance, several different tracks here on the ice, and this should be fun. Azure is coming up on a section of track that gets taken out by a boulder. Observe, children. Whoop! Down they go! No time to prepare for it. You just kind of have to recover, which is easy to do here. A nice, well-constructed bridge, and over here right at the end you can see a hatch. You can also see a hatch here in this submarine. Now these hatches are warp anchors. They take you from one point in the map to another. The snow is is muting all of the sound. Everything is quiet. Everything is slow. Alright, should probably have added like a high-pass filter or something. But once somebody gets to the end of that bridge, they will pop out here on the other side. Now there is also a path of track with several jumps that winds kind of below. I'm seeing a lot of people getting wrecked, which is about to be expected, as this map nobody has played, nobody has any experience with. Fun, but also kind of terrifying if you are wanting to get points. Portal didn't broke. Portal didn't break. You just have to finagle with it. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I'm well aware for anybody wondering of the decision to not add rails. Ice is... I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. I don't know. The satisfaction I get from playing it without the rails is greater than the disappointment I get when I fly off. Of course, it probably would be very disheartening if I were to fail in a competitive scenario. Looks like Blue Fox is just about taking off with the lead here. See if we can catch up to them. Pines of Chaos in his spooky skeleton car. Jay. Lots of people. Lots of different places. Big map. Lots of different... Ah, there we are. Blue Fox on the final cave. They've emerged out the end and are in the final area. Had fun with the ambiance on this one, getting those cliffs proportionate. Those aren't actual objects. Those are in a background layer. The scroll is just set kind of large. And looks like the way is clear for the Blue Fox to secure a first place placement. Cockpit view is orange. Lovely! Guess I'll fix that later. Blue Fox has escaped. Let's check in on everybody else. Now this will be interesting to watch since we're in spectate mode. You can't quite see the teleportation take place. But for anybody curious, I will elucidate those who are not in the know. This tiny little cylinder there is the connection piece that you need to touch in order for the teleportation to work. I realized that is bad design, just didn't have a whole lot of time to fix it. So this is going to be a fun train wreck, which I will eventually hopefully fix and turn into something that's actually better. I am very satisfied with the way the ambience turned out. The gameplay, for the most part, also satisfied. However, a few bugs I'm disappointed in. But can't fix that since everybody is in the middle of playing. Very interesting section of track here. Several different city structures. You can see kind of the break from when you enter the submarine to when you exit out through the frozen lake. You get through the frozen lake down to another basin. I could probably cover up this hole here. That doesn't need to remain. Alright, let's see who all is staying here. Looks like Rocket Launching Boy having a little bit of trouble with that low angular drag, as are most people here. Jet does not appear to be taking the initiative to get to an acceleration. Energon Ironhide just about securing a placement here at the very end with Bean ahead of him. Spotfire also on the straightaway right on the very end. Not a whole lot to slow you down. When you get to that point, just a few obstacles. Big, easy to see from far away. Not going to catch you by surprise. Kinix also right near the front. XMD and several others also having a little bit of difficulty staying on the track to make it through the underground route. Taro's route was meant to be made more challenging and also more direct. Through this, I think I've succeeded through that, but a bit dicey. Rocket Launching Boy looks like they are just off-roading it, trying to get to the end any way they can. Jet still just hanging out. Spotfire right on that straightaway, going right through the portal. And this follows the same trend as all of my other tracks in that once you hit the portal, that is the end. Triggers a right end. And J, unfortunately for them, hit that ice on a little bit of a bad angle. Let's see who else we've got here. XMD still in the running. Red L still in the running. And Jet, Rocket Launching Boy, also making their way right to the end. XMD kind of doing a little bit of an off-road expedition, trying to make their way to the portal without quite knowing where it is. It's more or less a straight line, but because of the low visibility conditions, it is very easy to, as Rocket Launching Boy said, get lost. Jet here, still just hanging out. I like the consistency, Jet. I really like the consistency. You've been my rock throughout this whole turbulent experience. Oh, god damn it. You let me down. Well, you gotta move all of a sudden? Alright, Rocket Launching Boy. Looks like they are making their way back to something recognizable as track over in the corner there. You can kind of see, although it disappears when you focus on it. They're making their way around this main spiral of tracks. Neo-Yamix, that's a death name. That's a tombstone right there. Jet, just hanging out, waiting for the portal to open. Oh my. And it looks like Red L is out of the running. Reset. As I predicted, I am seeing a lot of rage. Good. Excellent, yes. Alright, XMD making the way across the very bottom of the icy pond here, which is technically disallowed in the rules as a restricted skip level, but it's not as if that's going to push him out of a top 10 placement. So in terms of points, it costs him nothing. So it makes sense as a play. Making their way back onto the track may end up being a mistake. They're going to have to reorient themselves and then find their way back to the very end. And there is a very difficult jump ramp right at the very end that they are going to have to thread the needle on in order to get out of this section. And I don't know if anybody as of yet has actually been able to make it. This is the part of the map that I feel works the worst. This tunnel section here is very difficult to enter because of the clearance difference around these edges. And on this map, aside differently from the other Speed of Silence maps, I've disabled jump, I've disabled flight. And so the only tools XMD has at their disposal are grip and boost. And of course, infinite boost. So they're going to have to find their way around the corner there, get into this chamber here, because at this point it is open for them. And then they're going to have to find a way to trigger the warp anchor here in order to move themselves from here out into the... If I could just find it, no, it's quite a distance away, into the submarine waiting somewhere else. So let's go ahead and check on somebody else. Looks like Jet is on his way, wheeling around, reorienting himself, lining up that shot. Not quite able to get on the track the first time. That's all right. Difficult thing to do. Oh! And a DNF. DNF. XMD, I don't think, would be able to finish, even if they were able... Oh, yes. I'll make a separate video on the Ice Realm once this is all over. Just wanted to kind of debut it. Clumsily. Using the tournament. Very contemplative. Yes. Just hanging around. Sitting right at that border there. Just quietly. Peacefully. Letting the time run out. Yep. Let's all take a moment. Just close your eyes. Deep breath in. Hold it for a second. Deep breath out. Oh, never mind. That's all the time we have. Alright, what's the next map? Back to game lobby. Okay, back to the playlist. Alright, what's next? We've got... Alright, since doesn't look like using the chat window is going to be efficacious, I'm just going to assume that you are listening to the stream, and fantasy maps are right at the very end. And I am going to tell everybody that on Neon Pipeline Realm, since this is the pipeline that locks people out, anything goes on this one. All right. We are on the final four, and then we get those fun contest maps. That'll be an altogether more fun experience. I'm gonna have to add timestamps in the description once this thing is finished, so people can navigate more easily. Wow, that's a lot of whirring, a lot of overlapping ambient spectrum noises. Lovely sound effects. I wonder if there's a sound effect when the wheel stops. Like a oomph. I know Pine's Realms had that. Big swarm of players, as I predicted, taking the main route, but it looks like Dosi just kind of hovering around the Wheel of Power, waiting for the realm to open, not fooling around with that Acceladrome loop here. Let's see if we can get on the action. Well, this is good enough. I'm just gonna hang out in chase cam. Ooh! Neo Yamix just bit it. There's the familiar funky honk of Pines of Chaos, the skeleton car. Zero Energon Ironhide, it is hectic, boy. And look at what we have here. Quite a few kill grids. It's important to know their location if you want to skip this map efficaciously. Now, since this is an anything goes map, there's going to be a lot of travel on the outside of these rings. As you can see with Louch, Vinny, just hopping from ring to ring. I didn't feel like I could really restrict play on this map. It's just much more fun to just get to the end without paying any attention to making sure you, quote, follow the rules. There is several doors here that will lock everybody out once they get close enough to it, because the trigger zone for it is so large that several contestants will need to retreat and take the outer loop. Sparkles has got a hell of a lead here. He's got, I'd say that's at least 30 seconds worth of time ahead of everybody else, if not more. He just is going right for it using the ultimate skip route. Not sure if there are any other skip routes here that he is even able to take. This looks like the most efficient route, but he could be holding back somewhat since this is in challenge mode. Looks like Cerberus is taking a somewhat more direct route. Now, normally this would lead to disqualification, but since this is an anything goes map, once he and if he secures a first place using this method, that will count towards final points in the tournament. Sparkles is not far behind, taking that long tube down right to the end. Cerberus looks like was able to secure an entry right into the portal. A little bit of a clumsy bonk right there, but he worked it out. Sparkles coming in right behind, and Pines of Chaos is able to secure quite a significant lead. Looks like we've got a lot of gravestones. Only a few of those names are moving anymore. It seems to be a little bit of a text sludge. Pines of Chaos coming right down the chute, taking the most direct route. Looks like they most likely took the top of the pipeline. Alright, I'm going to take a break from announcing Just gotta check some messages here. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a chase cam. Rocket launching boy looks like it is taking outside the tubes here. Maps made for the tournament is after the next 3 maps here. Alright, let's see here. Rocket launching boy looks like they have adjusted their playstyle. Here they're no longer relying on the interior of the track because at some point from the very beginning to the very end there is a bottleneck. And what I mean by a bottleneck is a piece of the track that just cuts everybody off. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but if I'm following someone inside the pipeline, I'm sure I will find it slowly enough. Azure running on the top, taking Dashi's flagship. I think this is a Porsche 911. I'm probably very, very wrong. But they, Blue Fox and Vinny, it looks like, are taking up the remaining slots. Quite a few DNFs here. We're up to 32 in total finishing or DNFs. We've only had 3 people finish so far. Looks like Vinny is going to secure that 4th place spot. Blue Fox in memoriam, Bean in memoriam. We've got gravestones there. It looks like they hit a kill grid without realizing it's there. They're not visible from very far off. It's very easy to hit the forbidden grid without realizing what's happening. Caroline Fox looks like they are just about at the end. Once you hit that final stretch, it's just about it. You're pretty much home free. Alright, XMD, let's see what that bottleneck looks like, because it is a server-side animation as it is a pop-up, which is what makes it so difficult. There's going to be 4 non-realms tracks in total. Those are the workshop submissions. Those are all going to be anything goes tracks. Those are going to be played in sprint because that's much more fun. Alright, looks like XMD wasn't quite able to pull off that switcheroo there. Caroline Fox securing that final stretch. Azure getting blow dried as they make their way back into the Accelodrome. Nick Elements representing an iconic visual right there as they glide over the top of these pipelines with iridium. Lovely silencer visual. The door is indeed stuck. That is indeed jank. I knew this walking into it and made this bad decision knowingly. Anyways, got Nick Elements, the Louch, rocket launching boy. So far it looks like Nick Elements in the lead with iridium. He appears to be in the home stretch in this large multi-door room, making headway from one point to the other. Rocket launching boy hanging out on the outside of the track, taking a very careful ride from start to finish, and it looks like that could very possibly pay off. We've only had 6 people finish so far, so that is still a considerable amount of points to earn. Set yourself aside from the crowd. It is very possible that they will have a placement as a result of their decision. Alright, Nick Elements just finishing. Lovely. The Louch trying to regain unity with the track, but it's kind of a risky maneuver considering how many low visibility kill grids there are, especially around this area. But fingers crossed that Little Louch is able to regain their footing and make it to the end. Rocket launching boy looks like no longer going on the tops of the track. They are back on the interior. They are making their way back to track, but they missed the door by that much, and we're unable to recover. What an upset. Alright, the Louch is the last in the running. There's a 60-second timer that is running out as they make their way closer and closer to the end. But it is unsure at this point whether or not they will really be able to make it all the way to the end of the track with the time they have left. I am wagering that they will not, but still, it is nice to see them continue to drive. I love these ribbons. Very nice, well-polished skip going from one end of the track to the other, shaving a little bit of time, but of course, the trouble is conserving momentum. You have to conserve momentum in order to really gain a competitive time advantage over somebody else who stays on one track. I'm gonna say, yeah. They didn't feel so good right towards the end. Alright, so we've got a total of 6 people placing. This next map is also going to be anything goes. I don't think Acceleracers inspired distance creators. From what I read about it, it was arcade racers like San Francisco Rush 2049. Solid games. Man, you still got 60 people watching. Holy cow. Alright. Same old Accelodrome here. Anything goes here. So Accelodrome skips, which several people seem to be taking, are allowed, won't be reprimanded. You lose nothing by doing it. The real challenge during this tournament is going to be, oh my, looks like Cerberus is going for the gold there. There's a certain procedure you can perform, which is what we're witnessing now, where you retain the speed boost from what is intended to be a temporary grav trigger. And so you basically shoot to the end with close to no drag. You're able to build up an insane amount of momentum and close the distance between where you are and where you aim to be in practically no time at all. And we're seeing that right now with Cerberus closing the distance between the two Accelodromes, paying no heed to the track at all. We can assume this is an easy victory unless we see a death message. And there is Sparkles also taking advantage of the anything goes rule to bypass several different pieces of track. Very advantageous in this particular realm, although it is tricky to avoid those kill grids, which is why skips like these are sometimes more of a high-risk maneuver than others. Looks like Sparkles is aware of the placement of the kill grids and has a route in mind. They appear to be taking rather seriously. Yes, they are steering clear of the kill grids. They appear to be cognizant and aware of where they are. They've got landmarks in mind. They know where the kill grids are going to be, even if they can't see them. Now, that takes a level of memorization, so the clear winners, the clear people who have an advantage in a situation, in a competition like this, are those who have the map memorized, those who have the layout memorized, especially in a rule set like this where anything goes. Alright, looks like we've got Beam and the Blue Fox closely following. Let's go ahead and change our spectation view. We can assume that the leaderboard, top of the leaderboard anyway, is going to be filled with those who have been known for perfecting out-of-bounds skips and or grip flight routes. But let's focus our attention for the purposes of spectating and commentation on those who are staying on the track. So right now that means J-Bone J passing a small copper sphere, which canonically represents one of the legs of the I want to say they're junk bots. Looks like Jay is wasting no time with these makeshift wrecking balls. They are not ones to suffer fools, especially since this is in challenge mode. They are not taking any chances that they can avoid taking, bypassing that entire back section, which is more than reasonable considering the game mode we are playing in. And it's necessary to take certain precautions, especially if the game mode allows it. Alright, looks like Jay is closing the distance between him and the portal, closely followed by Kinix. And Neo Yamix, a little bit further behind. Looks like they don't have quite a sophisticated mental schematic of the skips. They are taking the loops in order to remain on the right line, going in the right direction, stay on the track. We've got Ames taking RD03, that's a JMS model. Really nice looking model. You can't see a lot of the detail because of the shading that the distance game engine applies. Looks like there have been several issues with the magnet at the beginning, which I'm sure is very infuriating. And part of the reason, actually, why I allowed this as an anything goes map. It can be quite difficult to play if you stay on the track. Very difficult to perfect in any sense. Alright, Galaxy's Mind and Dinkelberg are very slowly trying to make their way out of a small confined space. Having a bit of a hard time doing that. That is very claustrophobic. Wow, I do not envy them. Very difficult situation. You could say they're between a rock and a hard place. Alright, let's see who else we've got here. Dosi, looks like they have been drawn in by the grip of the magnet. You can see them being pulled toward it, even though their thrusters are pushing them in the opposite direction. Not a whole lot of ways to get around it. They just have to make sure that they enter without... Oh my goodness. Oh my. Oh no, this isn't the sort of situation that they will be able to get out of by a teleporter. I mistook this. This isn't the very first teleporter in the game. There is no teleporter at the center to rescue them from the situation. They are magnetized to this teleporter with perhaps no hope of escaping. The only way they are going to be able to escape this situation is by building up enough momentum to slingshot themselves out of the effective radius of this magnet. Now, it may be more efficacious to try doing this from above as they start further away from the magnet. And right now, it's a struggle to even get further away. They're going to have to put more distance between themselves and the magnet, and they're not going to be able to do this by moving closer to the magnet. They're not going to be able to escape its pull by going down. They're going to have to use the magnetic pull to slingshot up and around, and hopefully in that way they will be able to escape its pull. But let's go ahead and check in on Jet. Jet is not necessarily... He's taking the track as a suggestion. That's what we in the business call a pro gamer move. You see, he's drawing a line using the ground from point A to point B, from checkpoint to checkpoint. And in this way, he is able to make better times on these maps. But it looks like he has not kept or retained any effects of any drag triggers. Doesn't so much matter that he's leaving those checkpoints alone, since he won't be able to use them to restart, and since it was an infinite boost level. Let's see who we got here. Dinkelberg with those lovely side jets. Oh, looks like the inside was orange. That appears to be correct. Very reflective, at any rate. My goodness, I didn't even realize. Dinkelberg died, and then I was immediately transported to another car with an interior. Galaxy's Mind. Dosi still going at it. That is a respectable ethic. Hopefully they hear my commentary. And try my my method. It's only going to function if they are able to get out of this gravity zone. The only way they're going to do that is by clearing the distance between them and that magnet. Heartbreaking to watch. A simple mistake retaining you for the rest of the realm. But at the same time, it does emulate somewhat the brutality of the racing realms, which is an interesting philosophical standpoint. No, it isn't. What am I saying? Very sad. Very, very sad when you see people with a lot of hope in mind, a lot of skill sometimes. They have these abrupt ends, and I mean that's sad enough, but then that's it. I mean, they're out of the running. Dosi is as a mouse to a magnetic cat. His car chassis, it emulates the philosophical role of the mouse to a cat. He cannot win this battle. He cannot emerge victorious. He is simply too small, too weak. He has not enough thrust. He has not enough momentum in order to extricate himself from the situation, but still he persists because the magnet allows him to persist. The magnet does not end him because it does not wish its entertainment to cease. It's sadistic, it's cruel, but it's all too natural. It is all too much, it is all too familiar. Alright, let's see. We've got Jet. I'm going to wait for Jet to place, and then I'm going to very sadly pull the plug on Dosi. And we will proceed to the final two maps. Whew, that was close. That was almost very tragic. 60 seconds left. I feel for him. I do. I really do. It looks like we've only got... Wow. That is... That's interesting. The Blue Fox coming in first with a DNF at, what is this? 2,147,483.65 kilometers remaining, which is obnoxiously far from the end. But anyways, we've got what we need. Ruins Realm. Realm is restricted. Moving on in 3, 2, 1, and liftoff! More Silencers cars? Yeah, there will be more Silencers cars coming quickly. Not this tournament. Because I've got bit off a little bit more than I can chew, and as a result, yeah. I don't simp for magnets, frowny face. Yep. I'm gonna hold off on any sort of commentating until everybody reaches the portal, because everybody knows what's going on, right? Lots of people. And they just... little flashes of light. Kind of nice. In a way. Alright. Now, this is a Ruins Realm everybody knows and loves. It's old. It's been around for a while. Most of these players most likely know and have a few favorite routes. So I am anticipating quite a bit of point assignment at the end of this. If not 20 people finishing somewhere around there. Alright. Let's see. For anyone wondering why players are disappearing when they go into that tiny little room adjacent, it is because there is a little bit of a Storm Realm detour. Alright, what do we got here? Nick Elements hanging out in another part of the track. It looks like they are, yeah, I think on the detour. They're disappearing as distance removes them from my field of vision. Interestingly enough, it looks like Pines is bringing up the lead, which is a surprising, but not altogether a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one that he's right near the front. We've got Jay, Spotfire, Kinix, Sparkle, Zector, Eskib, really tight. A lot of people, all kind of in a herd, making their way through this realm. This is one of the older ones, one of the better known maps. It doesn't get played a whole lot anymore, but fairly well known. And it is looking really close between Pines of Chaos and Jay. And that is, of course, if Cerberus hasn't already finished. Yep, nobody yet. Oh boy, that is close. They are neck and neck. I can barely tell. And Jay secures first place very closely, and I'm talking 11 milliseconds here, guys, followed by Pines of Chaos. That was a photo finish, if ever I've seen one. Ah, and it looks like Zector hit a pillar, and it threw him off the track. Oh, all right. We've got Rocket Launching Boy, Iron Man 2099, Nick Elements, Galaxy's Mind, Zector, 1114, XMD 007, and JC Squared, with kind of a nice, pleasant fog right in the end. JC bringing up the rear. Let's see who we got here. We've got, I was very close, 23. 23 placements so far, and one remaining contestant. I do believe that is Red Owl. Competitive maps. Not sure what you mean. They are disappearing at a distance. I grab my chest and I fall. Alright, well, since we've been at this for a while, I would like to shake things up. We've got one more map in the tournament proper. I am going to narrate that map in a British accent, or my best approximation at it. In that next map, skips will be prohibited. Okay, so that's the first section, that's the second section, and that's the third. And just gonna let it switch over. Oh man, I'm starting to. I've just been talking for a while. How long has this been going? 2.5 hours. That's longer than I thought it would be. Yes, this will be interesting. I'm going to use chase cam for the first little bit. And off they go! In a herd, in a clump, in a group. The lot of them. Very close to one another. That can do very bad things for your frame rate. I'm concerned for their safety. It's very difficult to maintain control of a car moving that fast when you have only 2 or 3 frames to work with. So I do feel very sympathetic for the majority of people who are complaining of lag. I do not doubt you. Let it be known that I do not and have not doubted you. Ah, yes. It's very difficult to tell who's in first and who's in last. Let's see, we've got Azure in the very lead. It is difficult in this track to keep on the track itself. If I do recall correctly, there is a bit of a black hole that pulls you off, but several contestants are most likely not going to take that route, as it is somewhat dangerous. As you can see, several people here are staying on the track proper, or I believe they were. Perhaps they got pulled off. It looks like RJ has managed to escape the gravitational pull, but unfortunately he appears to be sinking. He's struck a rock, but he has not exploded. Quite lucky. Dorsey appears to be stuck in the accelerodrome. Perhaps he got destroyed there? I'm not sure. This is the approximation of a black hole. The pizza man appears to be traveling in the wrong direction. I'm
not sure if anybody is going to tell him. That's the reason that he keeps being teleported over and over. He's going to have to reverse himself. RJ is being pulled back towards the accelerodrome. What a bad turn of luck. I do feel quite sympathetic for his plight. Let's see, Dorsey, hang on to the accelerodrome. Nick Elements appears to be going in the correct direction, and this is what you ought to see if you are going in the correct direction in the black hole. If you are going in the opposite direction, what you will see is being teleported over and over and over again. And it does appear that Nick Elements, judging by his very quickly overtaking several other contestants, was able to use the grav modifier in order to accelerate himself. However, that gets nullified when you use the transparent purple tube to spit yourself back onto the track. We've got the Blue Fox, we've got Arizin, we've got Rocket Launching Boy, Ankh, Arms, Seisman 911. Lots of people are coming back out of the black hole, yes. Let's see, let's catch up someone closer to the beginning of the pack. That does appear to be Blue Fox. He appears like he's quite ahead of the majority of the folks here, unless, of course, I'm misreading this. It is quite difficult to tell what position everybody is in as they are circling around. Sector, we've got ECDU, Arms, Sisman, Rocket Launching Boy, Cavern. Interesting. Let's see, RJ, Boss Fight, Jack Attack, Carolyn Fox. Let's see who's closest to the exit portal. In this case, the realm finishing portal. Cerberus, Dinkelberg. I will assume, just from the names of the players here, that I am somewhat closer to the beginning of the pack. Jack Attack, a player that I have not done much announcing on, as he's either gotten a DNF due to crashing, or he, well, has finished somewhat closer to the end of the pack. He is taking the lead, which is quite interesting. It's an interesting example of his playstyle here, but then we've got Boss Fight, quite a bit closer to the exit portal, around the edge. Difficult to really tell where exactly they are at, because they appear to be obscured by the planet. No, I take that back. They're just very small, not obscured by the planet at all. Now they're coming round it, so there's Jack Attack, Vinny, J-Bone, Caroline, Pines of Chaos, Dinkelberg, and Galaxy's Mind, I want to say that is. Yes, for this map, the end zone is inside the planet, so the only way to access this end zone is to get into the exit portal. Pines of Chaos, Zector, Arizin, and Jack Attack coming around on this large and long piece of track. As soon as they make it round, they'll have to take a small detour, and then as soon as they do that, they will have access to enter the exit of the brown portal. Looks like Jack Attack has just about secured his victory. Oh no! Vinny! His momentum has carried him over the edge, and it is very difficult to recover from a mistake like this, as I know from personal experience. So it looks like Jack Attack has scored first, Caroline second, Galaxy's Mind third, Spotfire has made a last-minute fatal mistake. And wrecked themselves. How unfortunate for them. With Pines of Chaos and who else have we here? Yes, Jack Attack, Caroline, Galaxy's Mind, Nick Elements, Pines of Chaos, Blue Fox, and Cerberus have all secured top five positions. It's been a bit of an upset. It appears that not many people actually play this track without skipping it, which is understandable because there are no walls, there are no kill grids. It is very easy to go from the very beginning checkpoint, which you can see there behind the track, kind of in the distance in the background, into this portal. It's more or less of a straight line. A lot of this is superfluous. You can just pass over all of it. So playing it all without skipping, quite a different experience for the majority of the contestants here. This looks like we've got Dinkelberg and Hollaback making his way around the end portal. If I'm not mistaken, he is right at the end, very near where he should be in order to place. He is on the closest piece of track, and if he is able to brake correctly, maintain his momentum flow, he will be securing himself points placement, getting himself quite a nice score. Alright, next we've got Rocket Launching Boy and Boss Fight. Boss Fight in an interesting RDO6, I want to say that is. RJ123. It looks like he's not out of the running yet, using his grip flight to rejoin himself with the track. It looks like he will be attempting to finish no matter the cost. Dorsey Dorsey, you've taken over Jet with this meditative, consistent, this lovely stillness. I suppose if nothing else, you can be useful to me as a timer. So if there is a countdown, you can be the way I look at the timer. RJ, Lucy, and boss fight are all lost in space. Boss fight, getting close to the end, just about figuring out group flight. Some of the contestants appear to be somewhat unfamiliar with group flight, and it shows a bit. There are clumsy alignments and adjustments that they are making while midair. Nothing to be ashamed of, and nothing that I would make fun of personally, because we all at one point or another are at a point where we do not quite know what we are doing, especially in a game like Distance. It is quite technical, a multi-hemisphere brain game, if ever there was one. So here we see boss fight attempting to regain their alignment, their composure, making their way right back to the end. They are at the piece of track, the section of track that loops them around right to the very end. So now we've got RJ and Dorsey, and let's see who we've got here. RJ is going to attempt to elude the black hole once again. Let's just see how that pans out. He's going to have to get a little bit farther from the black hole. Russ is going to pull him directly off. Yes, it appears he was not long for this world. Hit the black hole entrance at a bit of an odd angle. Alright, it looks like boss fight is the last contestant. He's not the last participant, however. So there is no countdown. He will be able, if he is able to master this last turn and not veer off into space, he will be able to make it to this exit portal. Wonderful. And that is game, set, match. Let's see. We've got, yes, another 2 million kilometer DNF. Wonderful. Masterful, Vinny. Alright, let's see. It's got 15 and... yes, 15 total placements. Let's go ahead and go back to the game lobby. Alright, and now we are going to be switching from one playlist to another. We've got a tournament mission playlist. Lovely here. Now, for the map-making contest. I obviously can't announce anything in the chat window. I'm just going to let everybody do their own thing. Yes, unrestricted. Anything goes. The tournament proper is over. This is the map-making contest. So I want you to pay special attention to all of the maps that you see here, because we will be voting on these come tomorrow. I will put a YouTube poll up that will have everybody who wants to vote take a vote, and you can vote on whatever track you want. However, as I am running out of time, perhaps it would be better to, especially since this is a sprint. I appear to not spectate it. Yes, I'm going to upvote my own map. Of course I am. What are you, a fool? Round the corkscrew, through the bend, teleporting up into the clouds. This is a nice little scene. I suppose I should also note, for anybody that is interested, this is also a main menu level, as I'm sure you have noticed from watching the tournament. This is my map that I submitted to the tournament contest, as I felt that it could need all the submissions that it could get. Lovely. Seeing some wing pumping, which is a stratagem I should point out, which is useful for redirecting momentum. Lovely. So it looks like Bean coming in first, followed by Sparkles, Kinix, hitting that final booster there, getting right into the end zone. Lovely. Spotfire, J-Bone J. We've got Azul Louch. Let's see if we can make our way through the track. Take a look at what exactly makes this so special. See if anybody is still in the cloud section. No. Ah, yeah, there we are. There are 3 zones to this track. The first zone is the Sandcastle zone, which I always felt was, yes, nice. I suppose it is supposed to be a Hot Wheels track, but not necessarily a very proper one. Most Hot Wheels tracks are circuit races, and this is a bit more adapted to big distance. Didn't spend a whole lot of time on this, just kind of tooled around in the editor for about a day and a half, and this is what came out of it. So it looks like Nick Elements, Iron Man 2099. Everybody will be placing, so everybody will be getting points, unless they decide to spectate. Alright, let's see. What have we got here? Braino, ECDU. I am going to be requesting that anybody who does not feel capable of finishing the map spectate so we can finish this tournament, because we are going on 3 hours of streaming time here, which is quite a bit. Goodness. Energon Ironhide, XMD. Brino, Rocket Launching Boy. Very satisfying when you hit that final acceleration there. Lovely. Just lovely. Oh, splendid, fantastic. It looks like we've just got 3 people left. XMD, JC Squared. Looks like Teku and Dinkelberg are still on the Clouds level. This level I had a bit of fun with, seeing as there are big skips. It's quite a bit further up in the sky. It just is one straight line from the ground to the sky. Several people, I think, might actually be still. We've got quite a few players. You can see a bit of frame drop, and that's exactly what the contestants would be experiencing if you were playing as a contestant. Yes, you fall off the track, off the Clouds track, back onto the sky. This is exactly what you'll see. Alright, so we've got Dosi and Arns. I'm going to use Arns as a timer. Once we hit 5 minutes, I am moving forward. But it looks like the majority of the contestants are hitting the end zone. Lovely. Ah, Dosi, wonderful. What are we at? 4 minutes, 14 seconds. My voice is going to be pretty hoarse after this. Just going to move on. Oh yes, I've got to, let's see, that's 1st to 15th, 10th to 24th, 18th to 32nd. I'll just give everybody a point for this level. 1, 2, 3, and moving on. Now this next map is something quite special. Can anybody recognize that music? Oh yes. Something very special is going on here. This appears to have everybody in a good mood. Glad I saved this for last, so we can get all of the unpleasantness that may have occurred behind us. I'm gonna switch to a different accent. I feel like this deserves a pirate accent. I ought to be a pirate narrating this track. There's Rocket Launching Boy coming in last. I wouldn't say quite last. ECDU. Everybody's taking that jump. Let's move out of there. into an overview. Now this is a lap track, which means that you can't get to the end just by going from one point to another. You've got to hit the checkpoints in order to reveal the end zone. Alright, it looks like we've got Pines of Chaos making his way through the cliffs. It looks like the fact that there's boost and overheat has caught a lot of people by surprise. Lots of people are off guard. Aye, that's the way it ought to be. Don't like that the music cuts. I would have rather it had been more smooth. You've got to do a lot of barrel rolls to keep up your momentum, otherwise you can't boost all the way through it. Really great particle work with those vortexes, with the splashing waves. Points of Chaos going around the side. Looks like he secured a very significant lead. Heading right over this section of the track. Not wasting time with that loop there. Going right back to the first checkpoint. Looks like Dosey is being my rock, my stable timer. Lots of people are coming around the edge. Let's take a look at some of the routes, shall we? We've got White Skull Cliffs. Now there's two different routes. Underneath here there's piles of gold coins with open treasure chests and an underwater tunnel that takes you through a collection of sea creatures back up through the cave. Rejoins with the other section of track, which goes through a wooden tunnel with some torches. You can see the Flying Dutchman hanging out in the water just offshore, being a nice visual decoration. I'm sure that saved the mapmaker a great deal of time, not having to create a ship from scratch. Alright, looks like Pines of Chaos may or may not still be in the lead. It's difficult to tell at this point. You can't tell who's winning because it's a loot track. You can't tell. No, anybody could be winning. You wouldn't know. You can't tell because you double up on each other. You pass people who are behind you. So it's until people start disappearing as they finish, you can't tell who's winning. It's so chaotic. I suppose though, the person who's in first place would know that they're winning, obviously, unless I see somebody pass them. I suppose it makes it more complicated because you only need to hit the checkpoints. You can make other skips aside from that. Anyways, it is not a pirate accent anymore. I don't know, pirate accent is kind of stale. It's not enough to work with. There's no embellishments. There's no substance to it. I felt like doing something different. Alright, let's see here. Passing that checkpoint again. Just a lovely sunny day here on White Skull Cliffs. It's a tad Scottish. I feel like it'd be a bit more than a tad Scottish now. I've got a visitor. Pause for a wee minute. Alright, where were we? Oh boy. Oh, my arse is drenched in sweat. I've been sitting for too long. Turn down the IC. Alright, here we go here. Quite a few people making their way around. I cut this off at 5 minutes again. I feel like we've all got a feel for this map. Nick Elements. That's not who I want. Vanille, Jack, Neomix, Gaben, Elements, View, Zictors, Sparkles, Sega Master. I'm cycling. I ought not to be. Arizon. Tracy Square. Interesting. So it only goes back and forth from my position? I was curious. Well, that would explain some things. It looks like we've just passed 5 minutes. So I'll give a 30-second warning so we can keep going. Alright. God. Any accents you guys want me to try? I'm just kind of having fun with it now. No. Dosey is my timer. Let him stay. Let him stay. Brazilian. Fuck. Oh shit, right. I've got to get the results. So there we go. On the results there. I'll just give everybody points for that because everybody would have finished. An Aussie voice. American? You guys want me to talk like an American? Now that is just the silliest, most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, I'm already American. What do you expect will change? It's not like I can put on a different accent. All right, let's go into spectator mode. I could probably do like Spanish, but I don't know about Brazilian. Brazilian is probably more nuanced. I would just butcher it. I'm sure I would. I would just offend people. Let's do, what do we got? Australian. So you want me to talk like an Australian person, eh? I can give it a go. Alright, looks like we got Kinix in lead. Kinix is done some preparation, I'm sure. Kinix and Pines are very close. Pines are Chaos. But you see right in the lead there, he's the author of this map. So he knows where all the skips are. And this is an unrestricted map. So there, yeah. Kinix, Bean, Sparkles, Caroline, Fox, Azure, Jay, Cerberus too. Everybody is making their way through the depths of this ocean. You've got little decorations there with what looks like molten rock. Very, very nice mood lighting. Very much a fan of the ambience here. Lovely take on the fantasy prompt. One of the best maps that we have had submitted. It's going to be a very tight, very close vote. Not that anybody who submitted a map has anything to worry about. Pardon me. There were only 4 maps that got submitted anyway. So if you submitted a map, your odds of winning a prize, pardon me, again, are about 75%. Texas accent. I don't know what you're talking about there, partner. Dadgum. Alright, let's see here. Energon Ironhide, making his way from the start to the finish. Let's see here, we got Spotfire. Looks like they've made a bit of a mistake. Drifting slightly. Wolf, Energon Ironhide, all taking placements. Spotfire, Caroline Fox. We got the Pizza Man, most likely delivering a pizza if his name is any indication. Let's see, Dinkelberg. What a queer name. The Louch, Galaxy's Mind, Ams, Zector. We got Jet, Sagamaster. Everybody's pulling through this track, although a few people seem to be struggling on some sections. Placement seems to be rather commonplace here. Let's see, how much time do we have left here? No timer, no timer, no timer, no timer, no timer. Oh, never mind, that was a timer. Holy hell, how do I cycle back? Is there a button for it? Blast. There's probably a way to do this. Maybe tilt key? You. No. You. No. You. You. How do I do this? I'll just keep using the controller. Esgib. No, wait, that's SGIB. RJ and Zector appear to be finally getting their act together, going towards Texas. I mean, not Texas. Although all roads lead to Texas, as everybody I'm sure is aware. Rocket launching boy. Echoes guide me. Jet. My God. What an edgy name. Echoes guide me. I suppose they don't guide him very well. He hasn't been placing. We've got Gaben, Iron Man, 2099. He seems to... By God, I've done something! I've borked the stream. There we go. Dinkelberg, Vinny, they seem to be struggling on a particular part of the track. Got Penguin, Red L. What else have we got? Clone. I don't even know how to do a Clone Trooper's voice. Omega, please stop. I will never stop. You can take the man out of Texas, but you can never take the Texas out of a man. Options menu. There is a way to show the timer. What is this? General, is there a timer here? Shuffle levels. Screen text. How do I do this? I mean, Minnesotan, I guess, would just be kind of like a Texan. I don't even know what Goku sounds like. If I knew, I'd give it a shot. Minnesotan voice, eh? Oh, I guess I'll give it a shot there, eh? I suppose that's a little bit... a lolly voice? You fucking kidding me? Fucking Christ. Okay. Try an Italian accent, eh? I can do a little bit of an Italian. A Thanos voice. I suppose a Thanos voice would be more of a voice manipulation than it would be an accent. So it's not exactly a voice per se. It's more of a persona. XMD is making his way towards the exit. He's going very fast. XMD is making his way right toward the exit. There he goes. Yeah, he's finished. I don't even remember what Thanos sounds like. Man. There goes Red L. Dinkelberg. What's Dinkelberg even going? Oh, a Mickey voice? I can actually do a fairly good Mickey voice. All right. Let's get the leaderboard. Let's move on. So up to 15, up to 16, 31, and that's all. I don't even know. I should consider voice acting. Oh, I really should. I should consider voice acting. I don't even know what an accelerator sounds like. A Mickey voice is actually fairly simple to pull off. All you need to do is soften your words just a little bit, and then talk in a falsetto, and that's it. You can pull it off. Anybody can pull off a Mickey voice. What do we got? Stitch? You want me to talk like Stitch? I don't want to talk like Stitch. Talking like Stitch is rather difficult. The Donald's voice? Oh my god. We're seeing a lot of good placement here, a lot of good people. There's a lot of good racing going on. Everybody's racing really well. We've got the best racers, some of the best racers, some people might even say. We've got people, they've got cars, they've got engines, really fast engines, a lot of really fast engines, engines that run faster, even faster than you've ever seen. These are really quick engines. We've got there's a fox there. Seems to be some sort of blue fox. I wouldn't know. I'm not an expert, even though some experts sometimes they consult me about fox matters. They consider me a fox expert, and that is a blue fox right there. That is a blue fox that I am looking at, and it appears to be driving a car. I'm not sure exactly how it's doing that, but it is driving a car. That is a fox that is blue. That is driving a car. Is the screen white for anybody else? If there is an issue, Megatron. How do we even do what Megatron? There's like 6 Megatrons. All right, what else we got? I can't do this anymore, says Red L. Megatron. You disappoint me, Starscream. You've bringing me this. You bring me this steak. This steak is not cooked thoroughly. You are aware that I like my steaks cooked very thoroughly, and yet you disappoint me like this, Starscream. I'll kill you for this. What's that? Do Omega's voice. Omega's voice. Oh, hey everybody, I'm Omega. I make YouTube videos. Hey everybody, watch my videos. All right, what do we got here? Sparkles. What other voices?
What other voices can I do? Are you okay? Wouldn't you like to know? Like a lovely aurora borealis. That is really nice looking. Kind of doubles back on itself a little bit. I don't even know what this is. There's like a very ominous black hole there. Several like this road is made out of some sort of like energy material. I don't even know what's going on at this point. What? What's going on? What's happening? Goofy. You want me to do Goofy's voice? Well, that's not a very difficult voice to do. In fact, a lot of the Disney characters are actually quite simple voice impressions, and I think it was made this way on purpose. You see, if the voice actor died, the cash cow could continue, and nobody would know the difference, because just about anybody out there can make a good Goofy impression. It's not necessarily about the voice, it's about how you read the lines. Spotfire, doing drivey things with his wheels. I'm exhausted. Who wants to hear a Russian accent? I can actually do a convincing Russian accent. And that's mostly to do with my relatives. Anyone? Any takers? No? No takers? No? I do very convincing Russian accent, and this is because I was raised and know very, very Russian people. Russian accent is difficult to pull off, has lots of little nuances, especially depending on how thick the Russian accent is. Certain Russian people speak with very, very, very close to no accent. Some people I know who come from Russia, they speak with very little accent. You would not know they are from Russia, they have no accent. However, some people that come from Russia, they speak English as if they are speaking Russian. They speak as if there is English coming out of their mouths, but it is Russian that they are speaking in their pronunciation. And that is what I'm doing right now. I'm very heavily enunciating everything. I am not narrating a race, not anymore. There is no race. What is race? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't get what race is. That does not make sense to me. We've got some elements named Nikolai Elements. Is doing crashing. He must not know what he's doing. I don't know what I'm watching. Amateurs. SGB. What does it even mean? What is that kind of driving? He hits a wall and this car just goes poof. He goes poof into many different. He does it again. He has no consideration for how close I am, as spectator, to where he crashes. He needs to be more considerate. It would make much difference. It would be a little bit more considerate where he crash. But I digress. Alright, well that was fun. What else? What haven't I done? I have another visitor. Alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and set this on follow cam for UJC. Let's mute my mic. Something else. Yep. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and call it here. Let me just get a shot of the results. We've got 11 placements. Actually, just 5. Alright. It's been long enough. That is the tournament. Check your Ko-Fi? I feel like I would keep the stream going, but I no longer have the room to myself. Thank you, everybody who joined. This was really fun. This was a lot longer than I expected it to be. It was practically a fever dream. I'm gonna shut off the stream just about right now, but to everybody who joined, thank you very much. I will put up a poll for map voting here in just a bit.